Hello and welcome to my channel. Vice Rhino here, Cirrus over there. Hi, Cirrus.
I'm not really here, but I have an idea that I'm here, and I'm gonna roll with it.
Okay, sounds good to me. Um, so episode 100.
We forgot to do anything for it.
Well, I might have an idea of a way we can fix that.
Oh?
As a special in this episode only, everyone who sends a super chat or bits at any point during the episode for any amount, Cirrus does an uwu.
What? No.
No?
Hold on. My consent is
Oh,
necessary for that.
is it? Should I have talked to you about this beforehand? Apparently I forgot.
Probably.
The title says 99.
I
Oh, I forgot to change the title on
Yeah,
Twitch.
that's because Rhino's so good at his job, he
I
forgot that
am.
Restream has the ability to hit update all titles at once.
No, I don't do it that way because then it fucks up the one that I select from, like, because I don't set them up in Restream. I set it up on YouTube, and then I select the stream that I set up on.
Yeah, you set the stream up on YouTube, you select it on Restream, and then you hit update all titles.
Okay, but counterpoint, you have not removed your channels from my Restream, so that would also change the title of your streams.
That sounds like a skill issue. You should probably get therapy about that. Lemons and Leaves, thank you for the 25 bits.
You gotta do the ooh, gotta do it, gotta do
No,
it.
that's not. I did not consent to that.
Oh, spoil sport.
It's not spoiled anything. You don't spoil me. I don't receive any of your bits. You don't receive any of mine.
You get to look at my dumpling while I pee during streams.
I. You know what? You bring up a fair and valid point. Counterpoint.
Okay. Okay. I'm the one drinking. Why are you like that?
Because I have a 44-ounce thermos full of Diet Dr. Pepper.
Hmm. Okay.
That's the reason why.
You're sacrificing your ice for me? Okay. Sorry. The ice maker on our fridge doesn't make as much ice as our old ice maker used to make,
Oh.
and she likes to snack on ice. So we had a discussion beforehand, where, like, she's working on schoolwork right now, where it's like, so I can put beer in my cooler and fill it up with ice to keep it cold, or I can leave my beer in the fridge and interrupt your workflow to say, hey, can you get me a beer every now and then? Which one would you prefer? And she selected leave it in the fridge and I'll just get it for you because she likes her ice. But now she has
Okay.
apparently changed her mind and so brought me my cooler full of beer with ice.
Have have you considered getting like the silicone trays and just supplementing your ice production with those?
No, because the whole point of having, like, one of the reasons we selected the fridge that we did is that the ice maker basically takes up no room. Like, you can almost not even see where it is. I guess the downside of that is that because it doesn't take up much room, there's not much ice in it. So, like, if too many people go for ice at the same time, you gotta wait. But it is pretty quick at making it, so.
I guess
also,
that's fair.
I also don't give a fuck because the only thing I ever use ice for is this.
I guess that's understandable. I'm the type of person that uses ice for a lot of things. Like I like making smoothies. That's what I had for breakfast today.
Oh,
So,
apparently we got a hype train, or am I getting your notifications again?
you didn't get it from me.
Oh, apparently I just have not been hearing my notification. Oh, yeah, so someone cheered 10 bits and gave out 5 community sub gifts. That was Lich Doctor. Thank you, Lich Doctor, for giving the sub gifts that I didn't notice until just now.
Yeah.
And thank you, the Morbid Palace, for cheering 10 bits.
Yeah, like I have silicone trays with ice. The ice maker in my fridge doesn't work. So I have a an ice maker that is on the countertop where you have to just like pour water into it and it filters it through and then does its stuff. And I use that one primarily for like making smoothies because it makes the ice that's thinner, so it's easier for the blender to blend it. But I like ice too much to be like, yeah, no, I can just handle it I can just have less ice production. No, I can't do that. My brain just goes, no, you need the ice. You need it now.
Yeah, well. Anyway, shall we get on to our news stories?
No, but I guess we will anyway.
Oh, come on. The first one,
Is it about
wild.
La Barbies?
It's fucking wild. La Barbies.
Yes, La Barbie.
Oh, well, I don't know what La Barbie is, but okay, first off, we got to do the stories I'm not covering segment. We're not covering the ship that hit the bridge. I mean, it might come up like related to other things, but like I'm not covering that as a main story. I think that had happened last time we streamed. I seem to recall there were a couple tweets about it.
Okay, well, let's take a look.
But I might also,
have.
but maybe the tweets are this week and I'm just getting things mixed up. I don't remember. It's all a blur. Life is a blur. But yeah, that's not going to be a main story. I'm also not going to cover the end of the end of the world eclipse nutters, because I don't know, they're kind of funny, but they're also kind of not. Is like a shadow crossed the earth, and that means the world is ending because shade is scary.
People who don't understand how astronomy works, even in this like the tiniest degree, or otherwise have never put their hand in front of their face when like the sun is too bright.
Yeah,
they don't understand the basic mechanics of how these things work.
But I do have a time traveling correspondent that's out in the field for the eclipse. So let's quickly see what's going on there. This is Vice Rhino reporting on the scene at the eclipse. It's cloudy. Thank you, Vice Rhino.
Yay!
Were you able to hear that? Did I set it up correctly?
I was able to hear it. You set it up correctly this time.
Ooh, Anonymous Gifter gave out 2 more community subs, which got me to Hype Train level 2. And Mathematician Dragon subscribed with Prime 2 minutes ago. So thank you, Mathematician Dragon. I hope these people aren't expecting the ooh-woos from Cirrus, because Cirrus apparently said no to that.
Apparently you were here for it.
I don't remember that. I remember talking to you behind the scenes in between streams, and you said, yeah, sure, that sounds like an awesome idea. I will do that.
I just want to know who hurt you. I just want to know who hurt you.
Lots of people.
I can tell. I can tell. God damn it, Forever Dungeon Master! I sincerely hope everybody in your family abandons you.
Did someone just redeem an uwu?
No. Yes. Fucking uwu. Yes, that word they did.
Yes. All right.
God, balls. At least the printer's coming along well.
It says, I hope that was not refunded. If you're going to be that stupid, you deserve it. Plus, the people who got it probably needed it more. What?
What? I'm confused.
Okay. I was thinking someone who was like, oh, you're not doing uwus for the subs, so I want my money back from the subs. That's why I did it. It's like, okay. No, someone on Reddit said some lady gave a massive tip at the restaurant they work at because the rapture was coming, then demanded they be refunded when she wasn't raptured.
Oh my god. That's when you're just like, you're not actually a happy giving person. You're just kind of a piece of shit.
Progress only wants to know if it was a tactical nuwook. And I kind of love that.
Yeah, that is one of the things people can redeem on my channel, but no, it wasn't that.
Ah. Okay. So, yeah. On to Louisiana House Bill 777. Lucky number 7. Where are we? There we are. Louisiana House Bill 777 would criminalize librarians and libraries who join the American Library Association. So, yeah, just that title sums it up, but doesn't quite get how terrible it is. So, librarians are among the most trusted professionals in the States, according to several studies of parents on the perceptions of professions. Lawmakers across the
Jesus
country
Christ.
continue to infantilize and criminalize library workers. The 2024 legislative session has been particularly eager to capitalize on the rhetoric from the far right on libraries, as seen through several bills aimed at not only limiting the types of books allowed in schools and public libraries, but also in how the profession itself may operate. I should probably mention this is coming to us from bookriot.com and was originally sent to me by Fennec.
I understand that, like, a part of it is just the general anti-intellectualism on the right, because it turns out you can get more people voting for you if you put in a bunch of policies that are against people's expectations, if they are also stupid and therefore don't know how to find out about the policies you're pushing through. And so doing everything in your power to make sure that people end up less informed is in your best interest if you are that type of politician.
Yeah, no,
but like...
The right wing campaigns against education everywhere they can.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Like sex education? No, we can't have kids learning about consent and when to report sketchy behavior by adults, because then all of our old creepy congressmen couldn't marry their child brides.
That they probably ended up ordering from a different country, while also being anti-immigration.
I used to work with a lady who was a mail-order bride in her youth.
Really?
Yes.
Jesus.
She was not a pleasant person. And I'm not sure, like, I don't know what her home life was like, so I'm not sure that I could blame her. But yeah, I've got lots of stories that I'm not going to tell because, yeah.
I've got lots of stories. Well, are you going to tell them?
No. Fuck you. I'm keeping them to myself.
Well, damn.
So in Utah, they passed a bill that would pull books off the shelves in school libraries if the title is pulled in any other district in the state. So, like, oh, if they felt the need to pull it, then it must be worth pulling, so we'll pull it too. Which is a blatant removal of the local control that the very anti-library advocates... I can't read today. The very anti-library advocates themselves demand. So, like, remember, these are, like, small government people who are, like, everything should, as much as possible, should be done at the local level. And the idea behind that is the people at the local level are the ones that are actually living there, so they understand the situation best, so they can best do what needs to be done. Except when it's stuff that they don't like, then we need to regulate it at the state and national level to make sure that, like, kids don't learn that gay people exist.
They're not actually legislating it at the state or federal level. No. They're legislating it at the local level and then making everybody participate in other local things. See, it's very different in the way that it's completely the fucking same.
Yeah. Idaho did a similar thing. They tried to, and they were using rhetoric talking about pornography in libraries, which is very much related to the QAnon conspiracy shit. Georgia, that's you. No. You guys failed to pass the bad bill. So good on you, Georgia. You did a good.
Cool. I'm
so
happy.
That would have banned the American Library Association from school and public libraries statewide, and the respective funding from the nation's largest professional association for library workers, because the ALA gives out a lot of grants to libraries to run programs that are, like, great for the community. So if you can't be associated with the ALA, then you can't get that grant money.
Yeah.
So then it gets, Louisiana continues these efforts in an ongoing move by politicians in the state to damage public libraries with House Bill 777. Was introduced by Representative Kelly Dickerson, who also helped fund the Louisiana Freedom Caucus. So that's the kind of people she is.
Yay.
So this bill would criminalize library workers and libraries for joining the American Library Association. So, like, not just, like, civil penalties, but, like, actually it is a criminal offense.
You've committed a felony because you've decided to join other librarians.
By accepting a grant to read books to kids, you've committed a crime. So the American Library Association is the largest and oldest professional organization for library workers in the nation. Now, this story kind of hits close to home for me. My father was the head of the reference department of a Niagara Falls library, and he has his master's in library science. So, like, libraries and books and everything. Like this shit is important to me. So naturally, I put on the goofy hat because someone redeemed a hat thing to show how seriously I take this. Yeah, it was founded in 1876, and this Twitter thread that we're not going to look at is a fantastic resource on the history and purpose of the organization.
Can we agree on something real quick? That if you are a police officer and you are tasked with serving the warrant or doing the arrest for somebody who joins the library association, that you are actually proving every single person who says ACAB unironically. You're proving those people right when you're like, well, I guess I have to serve this order. I guess it's my job. No. If enough police officers look at that and go, huh, that's stupid, I'm not fucking doing that. Guess what? Nobody gets arrested for this dumb shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but that'll affect my job. What are they going to do? Arrest you? Yeah. Then looks like you found the other bad apples, guy.
They can fucking kill people on the job with no consequences, and they're worried about not arresting the librarians for being a member of a library association? Reploid404 says, you look like the Puritan pilgrim that you hate. LOL. Only needs a belt around the bottom. Never I know. This is my Gandalf. Well, this is actually my kid's Gandalf hat. He was Gandalf for Halloween. Yeah, not this past Halloween, but the one before that, I think. Might have been the one before that. I'm not sure. But he was Gandalf at some point. This is his hat.
Rand the Fool says, you don't have to. You can literally say no. Yeah, but then another police officer takes the case and then does it again. What I'm saying is it literally requires each police officer who looks at that warrant to go, this is stupid, and I don't have the crayons to explain why this is stupid. It can't just be one officer going, no, and I'm going to take a stand. No, it literally has to be each one that would possibly take it.
Less Than Lucid says, CSI Library Police. So now I'm picturing them like, we went through the bank records, and what did we find? We found a charge to the American Library Association.
Rand says, enough saying it's stupid, we'll do something. Yes, Rand the Fool, thank you for restating what I said. That's why I said that. So, it takes that much.
So this is a short bill. Let's read the text of the bill. Well, it would amend the law with this text. So HB 777 text reads, no public official or employee shall appropriate, allocate, reimburse, or otherwise in any way expend public funds to or with the American Library Association or its successor. No public employee shall request or receive reimbursement or remuneration in any form from continuing God damn it. Or remuneration in any form for continuing education or for attending a conference if the continuing education or conference was sponsored by, conducted in whole or in part by the American Library Association or its successor. And those are the two stipulations. So you can't give them money and you can't accept money from them. Now,
I guess you just get to starve.
So the headline here was that librarians, it's criminal for them to join the ALA. If they pay their dues themselves, which, let's be clear, sometimes when you're hired by a library, one of the perks is that they will pay for your membership in something like the ALA. So, like, that's now out the window. They can't do that. So you can, in theory, still do that with your own personal funds and become a member of the ALA. However, as we saw with the Fani Willis and her potentially inappropriate relationship with Nathan Wade, because he was employed, like he was a public, not prosecutor, but like he was employed by the government. He was a lawyer that was employed by the government to do what he did. And then they took vacations. And one of the arguments that Trump's legal team made was, since he is a public employee, when he takes those vacations on his own personal dime, because he's paid by the government, that is actually public funds. Now, that got... I'm pretty sure that was just kind of laughed off. Like, no, that's not the argument here. Like, yeah, it might have been an inappropriate relationship, but we're not pretending that that's public funds. But, you get another Trump term, he gets enough Eileen Cannons in the court system, and suddenly that becomes a viable argument. So, strictly speaking, it's not criminalized joining the ALA if you're paying for it yourself. But you can't, like, take a continuing education course and be reimbursed for that. You can't go to a conference and be reimbursed for that. You can't, your library cannot give funds to the ALA for anything. And C is the punishment section. So this is where it gets fun and just goes completely batshit off the rails crazy. Whoever violates this section shall be fined not more than $1,000 or be imprisoned with or without hard labor for not more than 2 years or both. So potentially, the punishment for being a librarian who gets reimbursed for a continuing education course is to be sentenced to 2 years of hard labor and fined $1,000.
You like books. Get on the ground.
So this is what I was doing just before the stream. I was like so proud of myself for figuring out how to do this. I can edit the HTML of the site to like insert my own images into it, so I don't have to awkwardly like bring up memes that I've made. So I made a meme and put it in the article. So we've got this screenshot from Les Miserables. What are you in for? I joined the American Library Association.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I paid my dues in the equivalent of a library union.
Not the cleverest of memes, but I managed to insert it into the webpage and made it look like it belongs there. So yeah, since the rise of book banning in early 2021, the ALA has been at the receiving end of criticism from right-wing politicians and organizations, despite no such similar pushback towards similar organizations for other professionals.
That's just fantastic. Now, I wonder how they feel about police unions with all of the violence that has happened with their... Like, that's the actual question. Like, what crimes has the Library Association committed that we are trying to effectively defund them by criminalizing involvement with them? Like, what have they done that is so heinous?
They've allowed libraries to have books that include LGBTQ people.
It's a public library, though.
Yeah.
It has everything from
this is like, the party.
Everything's there.
This is the party of small government who wants to keep the government out of your business. The government doesn't have any right to do whatever, unless it's something I don't like. Then suddenly the government can burn your books or whatever.
Jesus.
Yeah, so librarians are, like, they're trying to get librarians to lose their place as experts in their field with the skills, knowledge, and passion for helping connect people to vetted, accurate, verifiable information. That was literally my father's job. And they're trying to criminalize that.
It is literally from top to bottom just a way to criminalize education. That's what it is. Like, if you wanted to go be an autodidact, you wanted to go learn about a thing, you can either do that completely unsupervised on the internet where nobody can show you that you're sourcing something wrong or you're getting your information from a bunk site.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can, I don't know, go to fucking jail for trying to do it in the library. And I know there's going to be that one weird person who says who goes to libraries anymore or something like that in the comment section. But I'm just sorry.
Jess is redeeming a hydrate.
You should probably do that then. Do we actually want to live in that world? Like, do we actually want to live in the world where we don't have access to these things?
No.
Because I'd prefer it, like, even if I don't use these all the time, I'd rather live in a world where we have access to them. I don't personally need to make use of this thing to want it to exist.
You know what my kids mainly use the library for?
A
loophole of getting out of being grounded.
Oh?
So when I ground them, it's like it's not anything big. It's like I'll ground them from screens, video games or whatever. Generally speaking, like if they're going to go somewhere and hang out with friends or like go to the park or whatever, it's like, no, that's outside healthy stuff, whatever. I'm not going to take that away as a punishment. But like video games, take away the video games, take away the TV, whatever. They will then come to me and think they're being clever and be like, can I go to the library, which has computers that I can play games on? And I will usually say yes. Because, like, the library is like a 20-minute walk from the house. Like, yeah, you're kind of getting out of being grounded by going somewhere to play video games, but, like, you got at least 40 minutes of walking and like, outdoor fresh air exercise sort of stuff before that happens. So it's like, okay, if you're willing to work that hard for it, sure, why not? Like, I know it's not that hard, but still.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So then they say more, though, by criminalizing the library's use of taxpayer money to be members of the ALA, This bill ends up harming those very same taxpayers by removing access to grants, funds, and educational opportunities that benefit them via these libraries. It's what I was saying about how like they will fund educational programs. They give grants to libraries to do educational shit. They have probably given grants to fund a drag queen story hour, and that's another reason why they hate them.
Yeah.
But there are also opportunities for library workers to be a part of the process in selecting the best books annually. So like, they want. Sorry, we got Naram to put says libraries are an important resource for getting rare books, not online/research, and the poor who can't otherwise afford media and probably more. Yeah, no, that's something I've done on occasion. Is used. I will every now and then, if a paper that I need to read is not available on Sci-Hub, which is totally not a piracy site that I don't use, I will like text my dad and be like, "Hey, do you have access to this paper?" And usually the answer is yes. Hasn't been necessary recently because my partner is in university where she needs to read papers and shit, so she's got a university access to most shit too. So, but yeah, no, that's one of the things you can do at the library is be like, "Hey, I'd like to read this research paper. It's behind a paywall. Do you have access to this? Can I get it?" And usually the answer will be yes in some way.
Or if you're doing a project that requires you to look at like old newspaper clippings, a lot of times they'll have an archive of that.
Yeah. You can get out the microfiche.
Like,
there's so much that you can do at the library.
Also, it's a very good neutral public meeting ground. So like if when I was in high school, when we had group projects that required us to do stuff outside of school hours, we would go to a public library and we would meet up at the library in order to troubleshoot, discuss, do our meetings, do everything we needed to do for the group project. And that was a very common thing that we would do anytime there was a group project that we needed to take care of. A couple of us would bring a laptop and just make sure that we could get everything taken care of there at the library. Like, it's just a very, very good location for you to get stuff done in.
Having a librarian father did make research essays pretty easy for me when I was a kid. So like I would just like write my essay using Wikipedia as the source and then like call my dad at work and be like, "Hey, I need like 6 books on this topic." And he'd bring them home and I'd just find places where the citations fit. Good times. The library workers select which books go in the libraries, and if these communities want actual representation in that selection process, they should probably let the library workers join the ALA so that they can like actually have a voice in that. Because if they don't, then they just get like whatever random books. But like they're undermining their own representation here. Membership in the ALA means that individuals and institutions have the chance to take a variety of professional development courses to ensure their work is aligned with the standards of the profession more broadly, including ensuring that it remains a space of democracy, inquiry, and access. So, like, yeah, as like library science is a real thing, and it does progress, and librarians need to learn the new stuff so that they can keep up with the changes. So if you take that away from them, your library is going to be like you're gonna end up with a library that you can only look up where books are with the card drawers things instead of having a computerized system.
Yay! Yeah, it's great. Jinx saying Cirrus is muted. I think no. There's another person talking. That's what.
Fendick is asking if I told my dad about this article. No, not yet. I definitely will be discussing it with him. So then it says Dickerson and her ilk are eager to destroy and dismantle public and school libraries. By attempting to find libraries and library workers, they make keeping Louisiana libraries aligned with the best of the best impossible, and they make keeping Louisiana libraries aligned with the best of the best impossible, and instead create these institutions in their own image, which is ignorance, basically. Yeah, that image is one where the library doesn't exist to serve an entire community, but to serve a specific demographic that may or may not live in those communities. The white people. You can just say white people. It's for heterosexual, cis, white people who are afraid of minorities.
Yeah, it turns out that when you make something public access and publicly accessible, everybody tends to utilize it, especially if that public access thing tends to be in, say, a neighborhood that may or may not line up with certain red line demographics of the 50s.
Oh, yep. Well, talking about redlining is woke, Cirrus. Don't you know that?
Yeah, apparently.
We don't want to be part of the woke mob.
I'm sorry, I forgot that.
We don't want to be part of the woke mob.
Oh, God.
Get your tinfoil hats out.
Why? Why?
Fennec says cishet white men. Yes. Particularly men. Why?
Like
why?
What?
Because Jassa is in my chat.
And asked you to, did they do the redeem for the hats?
They did the redeem for the hats, yes.
Ah.
It's Jassa and Dark Excalibur who are doing the hats tonight. So yeah, then they point out that, you know, how ridiculous it is that a librarian could be sentenced to hard labor for joining a librarian organization.
Yeah.
So the bill would also potentially kill one of the largest graduate school programs in the state of Louisiana, which is Louisiana State's University Masters of Library and Information Science program. That's the program my dad did, not the one in Louisiana. I think he actually got his master's in Buffalo, if I recall correctly. But like
the tinfoil hat blocks the radio waves the government uses to spy on you.
Yeah, but yeah, it does. It sure does. But yeah, the ALA is part of the accreditation. I'm never sure what word to use there.
I always just say accreditation.
Accreditation. The program is accredited by the ALA. So yeah, the ALA is a part of the process by which these schools can be accredited for that. So if you can't if taking money from the ALA or giving money to the ALA becomes a crime punishable by hard labor, you can't have an accredited program for that anymore.
I want to ask the politician who drafted this modification to that bill. I want to ask them, what the fuck were they smoking? And I feel like it would be a fair question to ask.
Yeah, so this is where the article gets into. My highlights got a little wonky here. I'm not sure why. Whatever. I don't care. But it says, like, even if the bill is limited to only the use of tax money to support membership or attendance or enrollment in the ALA-sponsored professional development things, take a moment to look into whether or not police, fire, or other public entities are subject to similar legislation in Louisiana or elsewhere. The answer is no, they're not.
It's just the libraries?
You can join the police union, you can join police organizations, fire organizations, whatever. And the government doesn't have a say in that.
You can join the Freemasons and nobody's going to look at you the same way that they look at you for joining a library association.
I imagine you're not going to have the police department or fire department covering all or part of your dues for that. Yeah. So apparently, according to U.S. News, Louisiana is ranked 41 out of 50 in K through 12 and 49 out of 50 in higher ed.
And after this, they will continue to be like that.
Yep. This ain't gonna help. I also like the person who introduced this bill. I looked into on the Louisiana legislation sites. I looked into other bills that she's co-sponsored, and aside from boring procedural shit, it's all the stuff you would think of, like Louisiana's ban trans people from bathroom thing. She was a co-sponsor on that one. And yeah, bunch of shit like that where it's exactly what you would expect. So yeah, if you live in Louisiana, you can contact your representatives as soon as possible. I've only got about 100 viewers on my end, so I don't know how many of you are in Louisiana, but I am going to post some links in the chat. So that is so the first link is what's it called? One of those things that you signed a petition. That's the word, petition. One of those is the first link that I sent is a petition that you can sign to let them know. And then that one is the contact your rep thing. But also, if you go to, let's see, where
J. Rodimus says the feeling when you make a has-been reference and Cirrus misses it. It's not that I missed it.
wait, did
It's
I
that
make a has-been reference accidentally?
No, J. Rodimus did, and I didn't immediately comment on it. But I didn't immediately comment on it because there's another person in the stream who's also talking using his mouth words. But yes, I did get your quote.
Okay. You can interrupt me. I do it to you often enough.
That's fair. That's fair. Banks are a scam from the shadow government.
That was a has-been hotel reference?
Yeah, it's from one of the later episodes.
I've seen them all now.
They say stupid shit all the time.
Oh, yes. Yes, okay.
Banks are a scam from the shadow government.
Okay.
See?
Can I just say that, so I've always kind of had an affinity for, like the meme thing where something gets called a boy with BOI at the end. And so it made me laugh when I was looking up the voice of the bartender, the cat guy.
Husker.
Yes. When I was looking up his voice, because he's also Bolo in Final Space, and I recognized his voice, but I couldn't.
He's also the Arbiter in Halo.
I don't play
and
Halo.
The President in Rick and Morty.
Okay, yeah, he's a lot of things. Okay, but yeah. Final Space is where I knew him from. But when I went to look him up, I saw the Egg Boys were actually like Egg BOI, and I was like, oh, love it. That's great. Let's see. Someone actually linked to. There we go. I'm going to send the link to the actual legislation because on the summary section. So that's the actual legislation on the Louisiana bill tracking website, like the official one or whatever. And it's got a comment section. So you'll see I am the only person to have commented on this, where I say, wow, 2 years of hard labor for getting reimbursed for attending a continuing education class. The party of limited government intervention is at it again.
Jesus Christ.
So feel free to go to that one and add your comments.
Push the comment to the top as well. Add your comment and then
add your comments to how ridiculous this fucking bill is. Not that that's really going to do much, but like it would be satisfying to me that when everybody who feels the need to actually look up this bill looks it up, they see a flurry of comments from people making fun of how fucking stupid it is.
Also, Cathode Ray Tube says, "Why can you do that so well?" Wait, do what? Like the egg voices or Serpentious' voice?
Serpentious. You that was a spot on Serpentious. I should have commented on that.
Look, I had to begin my day doing voiceover work that I completely was not able to do yesterday because I was too busy doing construction yesterday. Everything hurts, but there's a wall demolished in my house now, and there's glue on the floor.
I'm sending the link again because apparently I only sent it to the Twitch chat. I didn't send it to the YouTube chat. And I might need to send the other ones too, so I'm going to send the other ones as well.
No, yeah, Keith Davids
that one
does
is
a ton
that
of
one
voice.
is the that one is the petition, and that one is the contact your reps.
Fritz says the voice acting classes are paying off, but it wasn't voice acting classes, it was singing classes. It's just also a transferable skill.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, as I give you guys a few seconds to all go comment on the bill with the first link that I provided. So just gonna wait a second, let everybody click. Okay. Next, now that you've all done that, and there are going to be like 50 comments on that. Now, Fennec says I remembered how to pin things. Yay! Or are you a mod over there, Fennec? I hope you're a mod over there, and you actually.
Fennec's a mod on your channel.
Okay, there we go. Because I don't I know how to pin things, but I don't have the actual Twitch chat open. I just have like other things accessing the Twitch chat, and I don't have the ability to pin.
My name is Bucket says
yes, you made me one, damn it. Yes, I did.
Says Keith David's best voice acting role was probably Spawn. I don't know. The line in Halo where the Prophet of Truth goes, the voice of the Covenant.
Okay.
And then fucking Keith Davids goes, then you must be silenced. It's just like, oh, that's great.
So Satan in Has-Been Hotel, when he showed up, I was like, I kind of recognize his voice too. Looked him up on IMDb. I didn't look at everything that he's in, so I'm sure there's something else that I recognize him from, but the first thing that I saw that I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that, was he plays Octo in Super Kitties, which is something that the 4-year-old and the 6-year-old in my house, it's a really, really terrible kids show that is absolutely painful to watch. That I never, like, they haven't watched it in a while, and I hope they never remember that it fucking exists.
But now you've said it, so they're gonna remember.
No, I have not said it where they can hear me. So,
Jesus.
If they remember, then I'll be like, hey, there are new episodes of Bluey. Let's go watch those.
See, now I'm gonna be stuck. Okay, so I love that 2/3 of the song "Hell's Greatest Dad" is good.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I clicked on a link when I meant to click on a on the super chat. So Balthazar 228 sent $10, says, how can there be libertarians if libertaries don't exist?
Libertaries
Going down to the Libertary to check me out some books.
Some box. You gotta just you have to misspell everything, but then say it phonetically. Go check out some box. And I'm so happy that everybody in my chat right now is unanimous in their hatred for Mimsy and Has-Been. She really did ruin that song.
Which one is Mimsy?
Mimsy is the one that begins in Hell's Greatest Dad going, it's me, it's
me. Yeah, okay. She's the one that shows up when she needs what's-his-face to fix things for her.
Yeah, she only ever goes to Alistair when she's fucked something up. And I hate her.
I feel like you're supposed to hate her. I feel like you're supposed to.
I know I'm supposed to hate her. They did a good job making me despise her. But I hate her more, not for her place in the story. I hate her more because I have to cut off Hell's Greatest Dad in the last third of the song every time I'm listening to it because of her fucking intrusion. That's why. Because I love that song so much. And then she shows up. And I know I can't.
Let's see. Oh, there's still only one comment on the bill. Come on, guys. Go comment on the bill. See how fucking stupid it is. Okay. As lawmakers debate border, immigrants set to add $7 trillion to the economy. So, this is an older story. It's from February 7th from Huffington Post. And then if I scroll down just a little bit, we'll see that it's error loading. So it's an older story, but I figured, like, they're always on about the border and how scary it is that people are coming to the States. Meanwhile, like, okay, in my opinion, the number one reason you let people into your country is for humanist reasons. It would just be cruel to turn them away. Just let them in, like, let the people live. Like, just leave them be. It's fine. Like, I actually would be okay with open borders. Like, okay. You know, like, maybe not like open, like free for all. Anybody just comes and opens.
Make sure there's a process where you can be like, this person came in recently, so if they do something stupid, we know that they're here.
I mean, even that might be a bit much, but, like, I don't know. I don't have a problem with immigration. I just don't. I don't. I can't even conceptualize the problem. Like people say, like, oh, the immigrants are criminals. Like, okay, well, statistically, they commit less crime than natural-born citizens. And then the children of immigrants commit about the same amount of crime as natural-born citizens. So it seems like being born in the States makes you more likely to be a criminal than immigrating to the States. So,
well, and just about every argument somebody can bring about, like, drug cartels, gun cartels, everything like that. We manufacture enough of that shit in the States anyway that there's nothing unique about the border and the people coming across it. That's entirely fair.
My crooked squid. Yeah, no, like, I don't, like, borders are, like, the only thing that I would agree with libertarians on, in that, like, they're kind of arbitrary, and, like, people need to live somewhere. Stupid fucking hat. I hope you're not saying anything terribly profound while I'm adjusting my hat.
No. No. I wasn't saying anything terribly profound.
Fennec says I can turn the hats off if it's an issue. No, if it was
Just
an
a-
issue, I would have turned it off myself. I think it's funny. Ideally, I love the idea that like someone is watching the edited down version of these videos where like I cut out our tangents and put them in their own separate video. So like I'll be talking completely seriously about something and then suddenly I'm still talking completely seriously about this thing, but like
And the hat's
wearing
there.
this. So yeah, no, I don't need to turn it off. I think it's funny. But like no, that's not what I meant to do. But yeah, so like from a humanist perspective, I'm just like, let people live. Just leave them be. I don't see the problem with immigration. I just don't. And if you disagree with me, if you think the humanist perspective is not adequate for whatever reason, like just treating people as human beings is for some reason not enough to like alter how you treat people at the border. Just look at the fact that like if you're going to be cold and callous about it, immigrants are just fucking good for the economy. Oh, I'm being asked if the
from a
pipe is
pure
real. Yeah, so this
from a per number perspective.
this is a real pipe. I bought it for a gag where like I actually like dipped it in like bubble things, and when I blew in it, it like blew bubbles out there. But it is technically a real pipe. I could smoke it if I want to, but I don't even know how to. So
Fair.
yeah. So yeah, back to immigration. Yeah.
I like how this much conversation has stemmed from the title.
Yeah. Well, I mean, immigrants are just good for the economy. Like, even if you're going to be cold and callous and be like, oh, well, we shouldn't let them in just out of the goodness of our hearts and recognizing that they're human beings that deserve dignity, you can still let them in because they're good for the economy. I've lost my highlights. Sometimes I have to refresh because the highlights just go away randomly. There we go. So, yeah, this article was written just after the Senate Republicans killed a border security bill on Wednesday because they said it wasn't tough enough. And while they did that, Congress' own economists said that immigration is set to add trillions of dollars to the U.S. economy over the next decade.
Damn.
So the finding echoes other economists who say the surge in immigration may have already provided another benefit to the economy by helping it avoid a recession, even as the Federal Reserve hiked interest rates sharply in 2023. Yeah, so the economy through 2033 was projected to be bigger than previously thought because of the numbers of workers in the labor force would be greater. So more workers doing jobs.
Michelin Gannon says immigration is a great way to bring more workers, which means more labor. Yeah, see, that's the reason why it's a good idea to get rid of a lot of the criminalization where immigration is concerned. Because this funny thing happens where, like, in the construction industry, if somebody is an undocumented worker and they go to work in construction, there's a several $1,000 fine that can be levied towards the employer if one of the workers is found out to be an undocumented worker. Now, why does that fine exist? Fuck if I know. That's really fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is it meant to do other than extort money from a person?
Yeah, there are issues with looking at it from an economic perspective because like a lot of this is based around the whole like immigrants do the jobs that Americans don't want to do. So like they're being exploited for their labor is what's happening, which is fucking ridiculous, and it's got all sorts of issues with it. Like they deserve the same protections that citizens get. But whatever, I don't know. That's a related issue, but like I don't know. I just feel like it would be better for everybody if you just let the people that are illegal immigrants in the country just be legal. Yeah, so CBO Director Philip Swagel told reporters that the economy through 2033 was projected to be bigger than previously thought because the number of workers in the labor force would be greater. I feel like I just read that, so I will move on. So yeah, the labor force in 2033 is larger by 5.2 million people than previously expected, mostly because of higher net immigration. More workers means more output, and that in turn leads to additional tax revenue. So this is another thing, is that like illegal immigrants pay taxes. Legal immigrants pay taxes. You let people into your country, they get a job, they work, they pay taxes. That's a good thing. Like they're not leeching off the system; they are contributing to the system. And I don't know if this is still true. I don't remember where I read it, so take this with a grain of salt. But I seem to recall reading that illegal immigrants actually pay more in taxes than citizens do.
Is it because they can't get things like returns anywhere
Probably.
near as easy?
Yeah, probably.
Like that's the only reason I could see that.
Probably, but I feel like the IRS is separate from immigration stuff, because like there's a lot, like there's a line that you can fill out on your tax return, whereas like enter an amount here for like money that you received from your illegal activities. So like as long as you declare that you're receiving income from your illegal activities, the IRS is going to leave you alone, and they're not going to pass that information on to law enforcement. So like I could see how like an illegal immigrant would like still be paying taxes because the IRS wants to fucking get theirs.
I can't conceive of the type of person though who, when doing their taxes, looks at a box that says how much did you make from illegal activities and is honest on it.
That's not the wording on the box. I don't know. You're an American. You do American taxes more than I do. I just like, this is a thing that I read sometime, so I might be wrong on that.
So you think I do my tax? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I have been sitting on my TurboTax page for the past like 2 weeks because I'm scared to do them.
I have this whole bin of papers is receipts that I have not yet scanned that I need to put in my taxes. And I think in Canada, like I should know this, but our due date's not April 15th. I think it's April 30th. I could be wrong on that. If I'm wrong on that, then I'm fucking screwed because it's the 10th and I haven't started yet. I might just this year do a scan all my receipts and pay like $600 to an accountant to be like, hey, just do this for me.
Yeah, my thing is I don't have any of the physical receipts. I have to go into PayPal and look at the transaction history.
Well, most of that is medical receipts.
Oh, so yeah, no, I have to go in and find every time like me and Saki have gone out to lunch and talked about work because we're both streamers. Anytime that I went out with anybody, whenever I've been out at like conventions, because that's all networking, every Magic the Gathering card because of the MTG channel, and it's just too many thing.
So Progress Only is saying don't pay for TurboTax. Cash App taxes is free for everything. Does that include businesses? Because like my understanding is that like in Canada, TurboTax is free if you have a simple tax return where you just input your employment income.
TurboTax costs about $180 if you have a 1099. And since I have 3 1099s,
your pricing structure is different than ours, because ours is just like, if you're just an employee and you only have like employment income, it's free. But like if you have a business, it's this cost, and if you have a corporation, it's this cost, and like.
No, ours is if you have like one 1099, it's like $70, and it's like 130 to 180 or so if you have more. And since I have to input 3 1099s, I've got to input the one from Twitch, the one from Patreon, and the one from YouTube.
And then Progress Only says it is my wife files a Schedule C. I don't know what a Schedule C is. Anyway, back to the article. As a result of those changes in the labor force, we estimate that from 2023 to 2034, GDP will be greater by about $7 trillion, and revenues will be greater by about $1 trillion than they would have been without the immigrants. So over that period, the U.S. economic output is expected to be about $352 trillion, according to CBO. So that means that immigration accounts for about 2% of the U.S. economic output in that time period, which is simultaneously not enough that if you are one of these conspiracy nut jobs who believes in the Great Replacement theory, that's not something you need to worry about because it's 2%. That's not a lot. But at the same time, 2%.
You don't understand.
2%.
It's 2%, but
2%.
it's exponential.
Well, 2% of $352 trillion is a fuck ton. Like $7 trillion. Like that's more money than fucking Elon Musk has. You add Elon Musk to Jeff Bezos, that's more money than they both have. Like, that's a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. And this is one of those things where like you shouldn't really discount this. And like letting immigrants into the country, good for the economy.
But see, that requires
it's
looking
almost
at
as
numbers.
much money as Elon lost on Twitter.
That requires looking at numbers and understanding what those numbers mean. And Vice, that's just complicated.
It is.
That's just complicated.
Republicans have sought to tie the issues together after previously balking at the approved. Oh yeah, so one of the border bills had bundled in with it support for Ukraine. So the final bill negotiated by Senators James Lankford, Chris Murphy, and Kristen Sinema. Fuck Kristen Sinema.
Looks like it was rejected as insufficient after Donald
Yeah.
Trump pressed them to kill. Oh, so this is
this
is
is
a person who's not in power and should have no influence over our politics anymore, still having influence over our politics. That is fantastic.
So someone sent a super chat, and I got the notification for it, but I'm not seeing it in my chat. So I'm sorry for not reading it out. I'm sure it'll show up eventually, and I will read it when that happens. But yeah, no. Trump is influencing policy even while he has effectively no power. Well, ostensibly no power is the word I was looking for.
Loki says, can we make it a law that the only thing that goes into a bill should be directly related? Yeah, that's what France does.
Yeah, that would be...
I would like that too here. I would like the elimination of pig fat. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be nice. Oh, there's 2 comments on the bill now. Scott Dillahunt was the second comment. Thank you, Scott.
I'm going to run to the restroom real quick.
Okay, you do that. I will try and look up the... apparently it was a Stream Elements donation. So I should log into Stream Elements to figure that out. I thought it said Super Chat. But hey, what do I know? Remind me later. I don't want to do stuff now. Activity feed. Nothing. Because I logged into the wrong account, apparently. Oh, I love this. This is so much fun. Just logging into my Stream Elements account so I can see whether or not someone sent me money. Remind me later. I'm sure that's important. Yeah, it's not really saying anything. The last thing was Eve the Succubus subscribed. Oh wait, is this my Twitch or my YouTube? I don't know. It's so fucking confusing. Okay, well, I just got an email that somebody sent me something in PayPal. So I assume that was a Stream Elements thing. Okay, let's try Twitch. And that's a hydrate. So now you're making me drink. Oh, yeah, there we go. $20 from one tip. Activity feed. It was Saki Tanuki says the fact that we could have return free filing, but TurboTax and H&R Block lobbied to make that impossible is a national tragedy. Okay, that was worth digging in for. But yeah, the tax system is difficult on purpose, specifically so that the companies that do people's income tax returns can make money off of doing it for them, because like it could just be an automatic thing that happens for most people because
I lived, bitch.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, because employment income tax stuff is so simple. it would be super duper easy for income tax refunds to just be an automatic thing that happens that you don't need to file, unless you like own a business or something. So yeah, that would be ideal, but it don't happen.
It'd be ideal if tax companies didn't lobby to overcomplicate taxes.
Yeah, that's what the $20 super chat thing was.
Ah,
So I found it eventually. So yeah, on top of everything, allowing immigrants into the country provides a needed pressure release for an economy at or close to full employment. So the unemployment rate has been below 4% for 24 straight months through January. That's not because companies don't want to hire workers, or it's not because everybody. It's not because there aren't enough jobs or whatever. Like companies, if they could hire more people, they would. So if you add immigrants into the mix, there's more people to hire, so companies can expand, and that is better for the economy. Strong immigration has supported labor supply, which means given the strong demand for labor, that the economy can grow more strongly without generating inflationary pressures. So that's another thing. Allowing immigration helps fight inflation. Oh, we got a new hats off person. This is Liz Kriz.
and all of that information will be summarily ignored by anybody who's writing a law about it.
Got my fascinator. Yeah, no.
Aw, you're so fancy.
So fancy. My partner actually got mad at me the first time I put this on. It was when we were going, I don't know, we went to the theater or something. God damn it. She's gonna be so happy to see me struggle. There we go. That's good enough. But yeah, we went to the theater or something. She had a fascinator, and I jokingly just threw it on my head, and she got so mad at me because I had positioned it absolutely perfectly on my first try just by randomly throwing it in, whereas before we had gone to the theater, she was trying for 5-10 minutes to get it positioned just right, just like I was just struggling with it now. So it was very frustrating to her that I was able to just go yoomp and it was perfect.
It's just made for you.
Yeah. So yeah, strong immigration lowers inflation, so that's a good thing. The influx of immigrants would also boost the size of the so-called prime age labor force, workers from age 25 to 54. But it also said it would be expected to decrease wages in low-paid occupations and slow productivity growth as capital would be divided among more workers. So that's where the exploitation thing kind of comes in, where it fucking sucks that the jobs that immigrants get are all the hard labor jobs that are extra dangerous that Americans just don't want to do. They end up getting exploited in those jobs. I would like to see protections for them in those jobs.
That first requires us to be able to talk about those jobs in a legal way without people having to worry about thousands of dollars in fines.
Yeah.
Good
way to do that.
A lot of this stuff is way easier in the world where we can actually deal with it. This is like when do you remember when California stopped making it a felony to knowingly give AIDS to another person? They instead turned it to a misdemeanor.
I don't remember that.
Okay, so California changed it from a felony to a misdemeanor to knowingly knowingly transfer AIDS from one person to another. The reason that it was a felony to begin with is they were worried about people, going, I have AIDS, I'm going to seek revenge on the world, I'm going to go fuck a bunch of people, and then suddenly they've got AIDS. But what they found was happening was that people refused to go get tested because the way the law was worded, you had to know that you had it. So this funny thing happens when you keep certain things illegal and keep certain punishments on things that are currently illegal. You make it impossible to tackle other issues that are related to it. So you can't tackle protections for workers who are in here and are either haven't quite gotten a visa or anything like that yet. You can't tackle protections for them yet until you settled the problem of making it easier for them to immigrate here in the first place. Because with California, they found, oh, these people are unable to go get tested because getting tested means that they know, and if they know, they spread AIDS more often. And now by creating this law,
legally liable,
we've actually increased the spread of AIDS in the state.
We've incentivized the spreading of AIDS. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Balthazar 228 says, as Esteban Colbert once said, even the invisible hand of the free market isn't willing to pick beans, in his testimony before Congress. Yeah. Yeah, that's seems accurate.
But
also, like, I've been listening to Opening Arguments again, legal podcast. Thomas Smith, we interviewed him a couple weeks ago. His co-host is actually an immigration lawyer, and so they will often talk about stuff like this, about how, like, there are lots of immigrants out there who they are in a status limbo sort of thing, where, like, they're allowed to stay in the country, but they're not allowed to work. It's like, okay, what do you expect them to do? What, like, are they supposed to just be independently wealthy? It's ridiculous. So yeah. When combined with the surge in productivity growth, this supply-side expansion permitted inflation pressures to ease without a dramatic loss in output growth. So there you have it. The way to solve an inflation crisis is to endure an immigration crisis, which I would argue isn't even a crisis. Is just people looking for a better life, and we should let them have it.
Cybershield in Matt Chat said that it's apparently now illegal to buy a homeless person a meal in Georgia, at least without a at least is what their parents tell them. Cybershield, this is one of those weird situations where your parents are actually correct. In Atlanta, police officers, if you are handing out meals to the homeless, police officers will ticket you if you do not have a proper permit.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yep.
Then they say, of course, one can run the experiment in reverse, as would presidential candidate Trump, and cut off immigration, he added. The result would be much, much slower labor force growth and a return to the sharp trade-off between inflation pressures and the outlook for growth. So, like, you know how everybody's complaining that, like, oh, Biden is causing inflation? It's like, yeah, well, Trump wants to cut off immigration. Immigration curbs inflation. So, like, it would get worse under Trump. And remember, this is just from the cold-hearted, I only care about economic performance standpoint. So, like...
So you mean the only argument that would appeal to these people?
As dry pussy aficionado Ben Shapiro likes to say, facts don't care about your feelings, and the facts are that immigration is good for the economy. And if
Randy says, I bet you can sell food without a permit? No, you can't do that.
If you're a humanist... then, like, the fact is that it's better for these people to not send them back to a country where they'll likely be murdered. It's like, people don't make the journey here on foot in the caravans that Fox News fearmongers about because they just, like, want to come here to commit crimes. They make that journey because they are desperate and want a better life. And again, facts don't care about your feelings. Immigrants commit less crimes than native-born citizens. Like, per capita, like, this is adjusting by population size. Per capita, immigrants commit fewer crimes than citizens. So just fucking let them in. And
Jake said they would fight the tickets all the way up to the Supreme Court if you had the money to do so, and the time, and the spoons.
Yeah, that is not a cheap process, no. Lawyers are fucking expensive. You know how much money has been spent on lawyers in my household just to, like, do shit like, hey, can we have the kids' winter coats back, please? It's ridiculous. That's a whole other can of worms, though. So moving on, we're gonna end on kind of a funny note.
Oh?
Trump has hawked himself to the repo man. So again, this is a bit of an older article. There have been developments since then. Or since this, so this comes to us from the New Republic, but I like this one because, like, it goes into just most of the news coverage this recent doesn't really go into just how sketchy the company that is underwriting Trump's bond is. It's a loan shark. Trump is getting a loan from a loan shark for his bond. Like, that's how desperate he is.
Maybe he's considering that he'll die at this point before he'll have to pay it back.
Maybe, but there's also some interesting things in their contract where, like, they're guaranteeing the loan, but also not. Like part of the contract is, yeah, it's actually Trump that's responsible for it, not us, which like completely defeats the purpose of having them underwrite it. I don't know. It's weird. So when a business lends money to a guy who A, routinely stiffs his creditors, and B, may become president within the next 9 months, that merits a certain amount of scrutiny.
Yeah.
So
just a bit.
Yeah, there's Chubb. I don't know what Chubb is. I think it's a company or whatever. They're the guys that did the $91 million bond for the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit, which Trump is going to lose on appeal. But that drew so much unfavorable press for them that it probably persuaded Chubb's chairman, Evan Greenberg, to not back the second $454 million bond, though apparently he gave it serious thought. Now the world is asking why Knight Specialty Insurance stepped in to back into New York's civil fraud case, the second bond, which an appeals panel reduced from $454 million to $175 million. Trump will likely lose that appeal too. Knight Specialty Insurance is a unit of Los Angeles-based Knight Insurance Group, whose chairman is Don Hankey.
That is an unfortunate name.
Yeah, he's engaging in a little bit of hanky-panky here with his numbers. Mm-hmm. Then they go into like comparison about net worth, so who fucking cares about that shit? But Forbes calls Hankey the little-known king of the subprime car loans. So yeah, they said Westlake Financial Services, which is another one of Hankey's companies, charges interest on car loans to low-income people at 19% or higher. So that's credit card rates.
Yeah.
Like, for comparison, my car loan right now is at I think it's 9%, and I thought that was high when I got it. So yeah, and they repossess about 250 cars per day, that's a lot of cars. They were also not listed by Trump's lawyers as one of the 30 companies that Trump approached to back the bond when it was $454 million. All of the companies that he approached said no. Hankey told Forbes that he actually called Trump a few days before the bond was lowered to $175 million, which suggests that when Trump lawyers told the appeals court that meeting the $454 million bond was a practical impossibility was not entirely true. Trump's lawyers may have been lying. I know that's shocking.
Trump's lawyers specifically lying?
But this guy...
he has such a good track record. He had Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, this guy was calling Trump, offering him a bond before it was lowered to $175 million. So I'm I know, that's crazy that they would lie about that. Then he said, I'd say it's more of a business decision, but I happen to be a supporter also. Wonder why a subprime lender would be a supporter of Donald Trump over Joe Biden. Could it be the lack of regulations that Trump favors?
It's hard to say. What was that old quote about people who are dangerous tend to have tend to have people around them that are new all the time. They don't have like an established group of people. I don't remember the exact words, but it was words that were meant to describe someone who was fascist. And then it followed up with, I'm also describing current President Donald Trump back when he was president. Yeah. So I'm just curious in his brain what his selection process is for people. Like, is it just, are they sycophantic enough, whether or not they have the skills to do things like defend him in court without, lying?
It's interesting that you bring that up because initially when they filed for the bond, it was rejected because it turns out that the company that is securing it, Hankey's company, is not licensed in New York to do that sort of thing. So they were missing a good chunk of the paperwork.
Oh, and that's not somebody you want doing this.
If this was anyone other than Donald Trump, that would have been the end of it. It'd be like, nope, bond rejected. I'm starting to repossess all your shit now. Or like Letitia James would be like, yep, nope, I am now taking possession of Trump Tower, or like whatever they owned. If it was not Donald Trump, that's what would have happened. But because it is Donald Trump, they give him special treatment, and they're like, actually, you need to fill out this paperwork, and then it'll be okay.
You just need to do this the right way, and then we'll let bygones be bygones. Like that.
Yeah.
But if he's doing a thing that is effectively criminal, why are you okay just giving him slaps on the wrist? Especially when one of the benefits to a Trump presidency that has been hawked over and over and over again is that he's hard on crime. Like, he's a hard on crime president.
He's got a hard on for crime, all right. Yeah. So this is also not the first time Hanky has lent money to Trump, although it's a different company. Axos Financial lent him money for several different things before. And like Westlake Financial Services, the car thing, Axos, the other company that lent Trump money before, typically lends money in ways that like to small businesses at cripplingly high double and triple digit effective annual interest rates. Triple digit, that's 100% annual interest rate. It's a fucking loan shark. And that's at least 100%.
That's where you end up paying your loan back 15 times over, and they're just like, look, I'm sorry about what we're going to have to do to your family if you don't pay a little more. You understood exactly what we were asking when we had our conversation. We bailed you out, so we had your back. Now you got to have ours, or unfortunate things are going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So Hanky has extensive experience lending money to high-risk borrowers, but Trump is his first high-risk ex-president. So with an appeal bond, the lender doesn't protect himself against risk by charging high interest, but by charging a large fee up front. And this might actually be why a lot of the other companies were rejected him. Not necessarily because of the amount of the bond, but because if they didn't charge him enough, that could be considered an illegal campaign contribution. Which I'm not entirely sure how that works. I assume that whoever wrote this article did their homework on that one. So if I'm wrong, blame the article, not me.
It could be the fun middle ground where technically the person who wrote the article is correct, but also it will never matter.
Yeah.
Like all of the other things that Trump was able to do illegally and it never mattered.
Yeah, so they say, indeed, it would be risky for Hanky to charge Trump too little because that might be construed as an illegal campaign contribution comparable to the hush money payoffs for which Trump goes to trial later this month. That wrinkle is one of the many reasons that most surety firms are telling Trump thanks but no thanks. So what do Trump's latest benefactors stand to gain in return? We can only speculate, but Hanky and Axos previously had reason to be grateful under Trump. The Office of the Comptroller of Currency enacted 2 regulations that allowed lenders to bypass state interest rate caps. So Trump has a track record of enacting policies that allow these guys to charge ridiculous interest rates. So...
And now
suddenly they're willing to give him money for
rates.
Yeah. Well, no, but now they're suddenly willing to give him all this money for his trials or whatever. I'm assuming because if he becomes president again, he will then, this will be a quid pro quo thing where he will continue to enact regulation or lack thereof that allows them to extort their customers. So yeah, no, I don't quite understand this last bit. There's a lawsuit with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau against these companies where, that's another hat. Fuck off with the hats.
You set it up.
Santa hats. Yes, I did. So a judge... Wasn't it?
Man, I remember. I think it was Paula Gia who said, "Don't put up anything in your channel that you won't be willing to support full time."
Yeah, no, I will do my hats full time. So a judge put the case on hold pending a Supreme Court ruling on whether the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau ought to even exist. Trump appointed.
What?
Yeah, Trump appointed 3 reactionary justices to the High Court, and if he wins the second term, he could appoint, by some calculations, as many as 4 more. So that's all of them, basically. Well, no, that's 7 of 9. Which, no, I'm not going to say that because 7 of 9 is fucking awesome. But it is 7 out of 9.
Jesus.
Yeah, Jerry Ryan is very much anti-Trump. She's the actress who played 7 of 9 on Star Trek Voyager. I feel like you're not picking up what I'm laying down.
No, I'm not.
You're losing your nerd cred.
I haven't seen Star Trek Voyager.
Oh God! What's really funny is that Janeway is the captain in Star Trek who makes the biggest deal about coffee, and they recently launched a like Star Trek themed coffee thing, and they didn't include Janeway as like one of the coffee blends. It's like the one captain known for her that would be like releasing an Earl Grey tea blend and not
Without
including
it being-
Picard
Yeah.
as the person.
I feel like that's what happens though when you get corporations sponsoring stuff, not fans creating stuff.
Yeah, Cisco's Earl Grey. Yeah, that would be an atrocity. But yeah, so if he gets all these Supreme Court justices, they will rule in these companies' favor to charge ridiculous interest rates and basically punish poor people for being poor while making themselves rich in the process. But also, like, there was a thing with the with this thing where like part of the contract was that they're actually not accepting liability. It's still all on Trump. They're just like there in spirit, basically. I don't know. It's weird.
We're praying for you. Trump.
It is fucking weird. I don't understand how it's even legal. And there's a hearing on April 22nd that Engeron is going to determine whether or not that's actually a legitimate thing, like whether or not this company can do that for him. I'm assuming the answer is going to come back no, unless they change quite a bit about how they're doing it, because right now it's ridiculous. And I really have to pee, so now it's your turn to entertain the audience.
Oh, okay.
I will leave my dumpling for you.
I am very appreciative of you leaving the dumpling for me. Hello, dumpling that is there. Do you speak? Do you say mouth words? I don't think the dumpling says mouth words. In fact, I'm actually fairly certain the dumpling doesn't do or say anything. It's just there to look pretty, which is most of what I do on the show, actually. All things considered. Somebody says, I've never done this before. How do I respond? Wait, what have you never done before, and how are you trying to respond? I don't know. I said, now Cyrus must dance for your amusement. No, I shouldn't. I should not. Your print seems to be done. I know my print seems to be done, but I now have to babysit all of you without the help of the co-parent, which is more trouble than you think. So, did you see the new fan armor? I did see it, Aaron. I did see it. Very cool. A samurai in my chat. Walter, put your money in my hand, Walter. No thought, head empty. Head empty, no thoughts. No, not even any THOTs. Nothing. A sidebar, does anybody have any experience with trading a car up at a dealership? Like, you've got a vehicle, but you're basically deciding, hey, it will be cheaper on maintenance costs if I just trade my vehicle into the dealership to get another newer vehicle. Has anybody ever had that thought? Because that thought's occurred to me. Because, like, I got a new car years ago for the whole purpose of having fewer car repairs. Robbie says yes many times. Okay, is it an effective way to avoid that, or is it just asking for just pain? Like, because I have no experience with that, because I didn't even have a newer car until 2 years ago anyway. And it's a 2023. It is effective. Okay. Because like, it's a 2023, and if I can use that as a way to guarantee that my payments are easily understood, as opposed to like, yay, everything's fine and dandy, and then suddenly one day I've got a giant car repair because something broke, and now it's not easily understood anymore. If I can use that as an effective way to avoid ever having to deal with that, interesting. Interesting. Paige says it makes life easier. And you know what? I'm all for that. If I can trade a few dollars for spoons, sure.
Depends how many dollars and how many spoons.
Yeah, it's the idea, because I have a car that was new 2 years ago, so 2023 Trailblazer.
Okay.
And I was debating, because I used to have only used cars for like 12-ish years, and they were always a nightmare of, hey, it's a new month. That means a new thing has broke. Time to repair it. Which basically meant that it was more expensive to own the used car, even though it didn't have a car payment, which was really paradoxical.
Yeah.
So I was talking with Chad about, like, has anybody had experience having a newer car and just like every couple years trading it in for another new car? My grandpa used to do that, but he's passed away now, and he would have been the one person I could have been like, hey, was that effective for you, or was that a stupid waste of your money?
So I've had 2 new vehicles in my lifetime, one of which was amazing, and I fucking wish that I had, like, when my wife died, I got rid of it because, like, as one person driving, I don't need 2. And it was the car. It was the smaller of the 2, and I had 3 kids. So, like, I need the minivan. So I kept the minivan, and I would have way preferred to have kept the little car around, because the minivan, we also got brand new, and it's been nothing but fucking trouble. I mean, most of the trouble has been covered by the warranty, but, like, it's been in the shop more than the beater cars that I've owned in my life.
That's the other thing, because, like, the car insurance is lower on a new vehicle, and the warranty still being in place and being able to just keep using the warranty feels like a cost-saving measure, but I don't know.
Well, it in my case, it definitely was, because I would have been fucked if I didn't have a warranty on the van. Now, eventually, like just this past year, it got a recall that actually fixed the fucking problem. And the problem was such that, like, it would occasionally just turn off its engine while you're driving and wouldn't start up again. So that's fucking dangerous.
That feels like the system that turns the engine off when you idle. It feels like that was fucking up.
It was part of the, because it's a hybrid electric van. And so it's a plug-in hybrid, and it was something to do with the hybrid system, because it's a Chrysler Pacifica. Do not get a fucking Chrysler. Now, I know there are lemon laws in the States where, like, if you get a lemon, you have legal recourse. In Canada, we don't really have lemon laws per se, but there is a mediation agreement where, like, there's a third-party company that, like, most car manufacturers have signed on to, where, like, if you get a lemon, you can go to the mediation company and be like, hey, can you mediate on my behalf? Or, like, can you mediate this dispute between me and the actual manufacturer? And, like, if they determine that you got a lemon, they'll just be like, no, just give them a new vehicle. Chrysler is one of, like, 3 of the major companies that has not signed the mediation agreement. So instead of just replacing my vehicle that was obviously defective, that, like, it's a 2018 vehicle and they just fixed it last year. So that was 5 fucking years where it was in the shop every, like, 4 to 6 months for a major problem where it would not fucking start. And bonus, because it's got an electric gearbox thing, you can't put it in neutral unless it starts. So towing it was a big fucking pain in the ass. And because they hadn't signed on to the mediation agreement, we just had to keep going back in for warranty repairs instead of just like, hey, clearly you gave us a defective van. Can you give us a new one? I get it. Jesus. Sometimes mistakes are made. I get it. It's fine. It happens. But, like, to just have me coming into the shop every fucking, like, I don't know. I fucking hate that van. I'm actually
a stupid amount of time.
So my partner, her lease was just up on her RAV4, so she's replaced it with a Toyota Sienna van, which it's a hybrid. And then I am going to get rid of this fucking van, which it hasn't had a problem since the recall happened. So, like, the recall did fix the issue, but there's other stuff that I don't like about it. So I'm going to trade it in and hopefully get a full electric, like, smaller car, so that we can, again, 2 vehicles would be 1 van, 1 car, and the car is just fully electric. So if, like, just for puttering around town, driving kids to various shit that they have to go to, doesn't use gas.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. Did the shop employees get to the point where they were like, "What is it this time, Rhino?" Yeah, no, they know me. I'm on a first name basis with everybody at the fucking dealership. They were just as frustrated with this as I was. Like they were advocating on my behalf to Chrysler
They're
Corporate.
tired of dealing with it themselves.
They were tired of dealing with my shit, and I was tired of dealing with my shit. And like they're good people at the dealership. But like,
I know
I'm never buying a fucking Chrysler again because of this.
I haven't had many issues with my Trailblazer, but the idea floated in my head basically because I knew that like I've had the vehicle about 2 years. Here in about a year or so, it's probably going to start having its first problem will arise, and I'm just trying to go, I don't make as much money as I used to, and I don't foresee myself being able to dig out of that situation. So how do I keep my payments as predictable as possible?
Yeah.
And that seems like a good way to do that.
It is. Like getting a new vehicle on a payment, like that's one of those things where like the financial gurus will tell you like if you can't afford to pay cash for the whole price of the vehicle, don't do it because like everything has to be an investment to them. And like obviously as soon as you drive a car off a lot, it loses value. So like that's not an investment, that's a liability.
They're just like, yeah, it's a deprecating thing. Like I don't care if it's deprecating, I just care that it works.
Yeah, but like it works more often. My car is not a financial investment. My car is how I drive my kids places. So like if it works, I would rather have a consistent payment every month than have like, oh no, what is it this time that needs fixing?
Yeah, and that's where I'm at right now thinking about mine, because I got an email from the automotive place saying like, hey, have you been enjoying your Trailblazer? Do you still like it? Do you have any questions? And I'm just like, well, if you're asking, one of the questions I do have is how hard would it be to trade in my vehicle, keep the same payment I'm paying right now, and just have another thing that I would not have to pay a dime more on per month, but it's newer and therefore will have fewer problems as it gets older, because the idea would be to not let it get older.
Yeah. All right. So, well, anyway, we are now 5 minutes past when this show is supposed to end, and we haven't even started the tweets yet.
Yay!
So let's do some tweets, shall we?
Sure, let's go. I'm just printing off my lid right now. So
we're starting with capturing Christianity. That is an appropriate emoji to pop up right in the middle of that. Thank you, whoever sent that. Sakura. So he says, by the way, eclipses provide evidence for theism.
How?
Because they're pretty. Because they're pretty.
What way? In what way? It is a solid object moving in front of a plasma object. How is that evidence for theism? That's evidence that rock in sky. That's all that is.
Yeah, I know.
You had to start with this one? You had to start with the one that makes me go from nodding and smiling to, I guess I'm up to 11 now.
So, Zerask says, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep suck. Ford, Chevy can be okay. Honda, Toyota are golden. Yeah, I don't have issues with that. Now, Chrysler, the main reason I'm not buying from Chrysler, because, like, I understand that my van was a lemon. That's not reflective of their general build quality. Like, you can get a good Chrysler vehicle. My problem with Chrysler is that they are not signed on to the mediation agreement, so if you do get a lemon, there ain't shit you can do about it in Canada. Whereas Ford and Chevy have both signed on to the mediation agreement, so if I had a similar issue with a Ford or a Chevy, I could just contact the mediation thing and be like, hey, this thing has been back in the shop like 6 times for the same warranty repair. Can you, like, see if I can just get it replaced? And then it would get replaced. Anyway, but back to the tweet. Eclipses provide evidence for theism. He tried to justify this by, like, appealing to the argument from beauty or whatever, which, like, the argument from beauty is, aside from the ontological argument, it might be the stupidest argument for theism that I've ever seen. Because, like, nothing is more culturally accepted than the idea that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So beauty is clearly subjective. Everybody understands that beauty is subjective. Different people have different tastes. Some people look at the eclipse and think, it's just a shadow. That's not a big deal. Whatever. So like, it's not objectively beautiful. It is just something that some people think is like most people probably think is beautiful. So like that, I don't see how that could possibly be an argument for God. Scott Dillahunt says, so any chance of a rhino uwu and eclipses are evidence that the world is round and the moon orbits the earth. I've given uwus before. I'm not good at it. I don't know the proper way to do it. Uwu?
I'm not going to correct
Circe
you.
doesn't do it. But wait a sec. I'm hearing, I've got my time traveling correspondent in the field is going to talk to us about the eclipse some more. So yeah, let's cut to time traveling Rhino. This is Vice Rhino reporting live from the eclipse with my first ever man on the street interview. So I've got a man on the street with me. So hi, how's the eclipse?
It's cloudy.
Back to you. There you have it.
I liked how twitchy he was looking around. Where is the eclipse?
It was cloudy.
That was cloudy.
That was my eclipse was cloudy. And the worst part was we planned the whole thing out. Initially we were like, there's this field just down the road from us that would be a great spot to watch it from. But then we heard that like Niagara was like promoting themselves as like, oh, come here to watch the eclipse. It's going to be great. It's going to be this big thing. They declared a state of emergency because they were expecting so many people. Like that was the thing that people were making fun of, where it's like, oh, is it an emergency a week before it even happens? Like, no. They just preemptively declared it so that they have access to, certain powers that allow them to react to actual emergencies faster. So like that's fine. Don't make fun of them for that. That's a reasonable thing to do. But like we're like, okay, well, traffic might be bad and there's going to be a bunch of people in this field. You know what? My dad has a Christmas tree farm. He's got a massive field, great view of the sky. Let's go to my dad's house to watch the eclipse. We're not going to have to like get there early to fight for a good spot to sit down and watch it. None of that shit. So we go there and it was just completely overcast the entire time. Couldn't see shit. Now it was kind of neat. You could see the shadow of the moon like approach from where the shadow was approaching from, and then you got to see like the shadow leaving, and you could see that in the clouds, and that was neat. It was really cool to see. It was really cool to experience. It was neat to hear like the birds just went completely silent when it was dark, and the frogs started doing their evening croaking thing. So like that was neat. So yeah, it was interesting, but then like I'm seeing videos from like Niagara Falls and like, yeah, it was overcast, but the clouds were thin enough that they still saw the eclipse. Mm-hmm. And I texted my mother, who stayed in the town that I live in, that we decided to leave. And she, like, yeah, it was overcast, but she could still see a little, like she still managed to, like the clouds were thin enough that she saw the actual like eclipse thing. So it's like, we planned everything out to like make everything optimal. We slept over at my dad's house the night before so we wouldn't have to fight with traffic the day of, if there was any. And like we made a whole ordeal out of it. And it turns out that the spot we went to was like the only spot in the entire Niagara Peninsula where the clouds were so thick that you couldn't actually see anything. It's like, fuck.
That is so I am sorry that happened to you. At the same time, because of that, this was way fucking funnier.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm gonna make a bit out of this. I like make the best of it. It's cloudy. I don't know if you guys noticed, but my microphone was just like a lav mic that was duct taped to a pie spatula thing. And the best part was I didn't need the tape to attach it because it's got a clip on it, but I put the tape on anyways because I thought making it jankier was funnier. And also it was a man on the street interview, so like we went to the middle of the road so I could do the man on the street interview on the street.
I hear some YouTubers hold their microphones these days.
I know. That was kind of what I was thinking when I did. Yeah. Alex Markle says that's the universe telling you to get fucked, nerd. I would get fucked, but Heidi is busy doing homework. So
You know, that's like when somebody on my Twitter was like, "Hey, if you do a subathon, why not just turn on the camera when you're sleeping, like some other streamers have done?" And I'm just like, bluntly, because I want to have sex with my girlfriend.
Oh,
Bluntly, that is the reason why. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat this one on Twitter.
You're a VTuber, so it'd just be like, why is the model's tits bouncing right now?
You're supposed to be asleep. Why is it going boing, 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 boing?
Yeah. You're allowed to have sex even when you're subathoning. You need some downtime even in a subathon.
But I don't want to be down during sex. I want to get up. That's the whole point.
Yeah. All right, back to the tweets. Okay, so this is setting up for the next one. So again, capturing Christianity, he tweeted a thing like, if chips and guac exist, God exists. Chips and guac exist, therefore God exists. QED.
This is just proving that argument never worked.
Well, it was a joke tweet. It was like, he's just basically saying like, I really like chips and guac, so therefore God exists. Or like, I have made similar jokes. It's fine, whatever. That's not the issue. Like what I say, like, okay, well, this is essentially the same as the moral argument, because it boils down to, if a thing I like exists, then God exists. Is like, that's the moral argument. Objective moral values and duties exist, therefore God exists. Except you can't demonstrate that objective moral values and duties actually do exist. It's just, I would prefer the universe to be such that they do, therefore God must exist. So like, it's the exact same argument, and his joke argument kind of demonstrates the flaw with the moral argument. It's a really good encapsulation of what's wrong with it, and he didn't realize that when he made the joke. So I took it more seriously than I probably should have. But anyway, that's not the main thing I want to get to here. The main thing I want to get to here is the person that responded to this with, another dipshit atheist saying objective morals don't exist while living in a society that can only exist because of objective morals. Unfollowed. Like,
but why
were you following me in the first place? Like,
what?
Did you not know who I was? Like, did you, like, what have I said that made you follow me, that this is the straw that breaks the camel's back and you're unfollowing me now? Like, I'm so curious about that. Or is this just someone who never followed me in the first place and thinks that unfollowed is something that's going to be hurtful?
It would have to be that one, just like the person who goes unsubscribed. I would dislike it twice if I could. And it's just like, I'm fairly certain this is the first video of mine you've seen. I don't think you were subscribed, buddy.
I mean, like, I retweeted that with the Bye Felicia meme, with being like saying like, I don't know why you were following me in the first place. Bye Felicia. And the response to that was to delete this tweet and then block me, which, like, fair point. I'm not going to judge someone for blocking people. I block a shit ton of people. And it's always amusing to me when I get accused of like creating an echo chamber, because like, obviously I don't create an echo chamber. Otherwise I wouldn't have anywhere to get the tweets that I use for this fucking show.
We're also allowed to curate our surroundings. Like, I'm sorry, but as somebody who has had a conservative person yell at me in his own home about how liberals just don't want to have a conversation whilst being in the middle of a conversation with him, I'm sorry. I'm tired of dealing with the stupid opinions of people when it comes to blocking.
Yeah, especially on Twitter. Like, nah, man. Like, Twitter is a fucking shit show. You know how many accounts you need to block in order to actually create an echo chamber nowadays? Is like, you have to block everything that's a neo-Nazi, otherwise you are going to see neo-Nazi shit. It's just a fact. Van Briggs says I'm using the app for Android so I don't have tabs. I actually refuse to install the app on my phone. So I have two browsers installed. So there's Chrome and then there's I forget what it's called, but like it's weird that like the official Chrome browser for Android doesn't support Chrome extensions that you would have on like the desktop or whatever. And I have an extension that I use that like anyone that pays for Twitter Blue, their tweet gets hidden from me. So I just don't see it. and so I downloaded a third-party browser that is Chromium-based that does support Chrome extensions on Android. So like it's possible, obviously, or they wouldn't have been able to do it. So I use that to browse Twitter. So it's just a browser, but it also hides all the people that pay for Twitter because they're just a bunch of dipshits for the most part.
Yeah.
So,
I can't even argue with that because that's just objectively true for the most part.
yeah, no, and if it wasn't for Twit tweets, I probably would have just left Twitter and deleted my account. Like, not deleted my account, but like leave it to fester and rot, because like there's nothing of value on Twitter anymore. Like, I do post shit and I do interact with a few people, but like for the most part, my life would be better without Twitter. But yeah, anyway. Next up, we got Sarah Malkangi, who says, between this and the earthquakes the U.S. has recently experienced, do we really need an eclipse to tell us God is not happy with us as a nation? While showing a picture
Who
of
the fuck is so stuck in the 50s, not the 1950s, the fucking 350s, that they look at lightning and just go, natural phenomenon.
Not even
Gods
lightning,
are
sir.
angry.
Not even lightning. A shadow. There is a shadow that is going to hit a good chunk of the U.S. Therefore, God's not happy with us. Photons, photons from a specific source will have a difficult time reaching the Earth for 3 minutes. Therefore, God's mad at us. Also, I'm pretty sure the torch of the Statue of Liberty actually has a lightning rod in it, specifically to like make sure that when lightning hits it, it like gets to the ground safely without melting shit. So like, I imagine the Statue of Liberty gets struck by lightning like thousands of times a year. I didn't look it up, but I guarantee you it's up there.
Jesus Christ.
It's
Why?
like, this is just like, people are so dumb when it comes to this sort of stuff.
I just want to know how do you get this far in life where you're just like, you go from smells like rain to smells like God wants to lay his dick on society. How do you get to this point?
What I'm hearing here is that you think that God's dick smells like rain.
At least it's wet.
unlike Ben Shapiro's.
We thought the exact same thing at the same time, and that's scary, and I don't know if I like that. But yes.
It makes sense, though. Yeah, so, but my thing with this is, like, all that considered, like, if I were an omnipotent being who was mad at someone, I feel like I'd have a more clear way of demonstrating my anger than there's a shadow that just went across your country.
I've made a natural phenomenon happen.
Yeah,
something that can easily be explained.
I've made a shadow happen that, like, people who study this shit have known was going to happen for hundreds of years in advance. Also, I've made a lot of Ben Shapiro jokes in this stream so far. I'm pretty sure that Ben Shapiro is the last tweet tonight. So,
at least it makes sense.
So it'll come around full circle, unlike Ben Shapiro. Anyway, okay, so this was fun.
I can't even see who this is from.
So this is not a tweet. This is from the frequently asked questions page of the Trump Bible. So you know how he's selling Bibles now?
Yeah.
So I want to pay particular attention to this question. This is apparently a frequently asked question. What if my Bible has sticky pages?
What? Why does
my Bible have sticky pages, sir? Why does my Bible have sticky pages?
I just turned to Ezekiel and I got rock hard.
This is Ezekiel 23:20, baby. Yep. Nope. This is the Bible that Trump found the Song of Songs. No, this is legitimately from the frequently asked. Like, I saw this posted on Twitter. I saw the screenshot of it posted on Twitter. I'm like, that can't be real. There's no way that's real. So I went to the fucking website myself, and this is legitimately one of the frequently asked questions. What if my Bible has sticky pages? Now, it's actually with regard to the gold gilding on the side, because like that's done after the Bible's printed, and so the pages do kind of stick together with it. So like that's what they're referring to, but like, come on.
What if my Bible is sticky?
You just had to fucking know.
It just means Trump isn't firing as many blanks as we thought he is today, and your Bible got a special surprise. Did you also know that Trump was in the Navy? Because obviously he's the seaman.
His bone
General
spurs were of a
bone
different
spurs.
kind.
General Boner Spurs.
Yeah, there we go. The sticky page Bible. I want to order a Bible and get Trump sticky pages. Like, come on. Senshini's asking, is the Trump Bible like the slave Bible, secretly meant to give the Trumps a rudimentary understanding about reading and writing? So no, the Trump Bible is a Bible that also includes like the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, and it says like a handwritten copy of one of those like America So Great songs. I forget which one. Handwritten by who?
America!
Handwritten by who? It doesn't say. So like it's either sweatshop labor in India where somebody is copying it out by hand, or it's just a font. I don't know. But also the slave Bible, fun fact. Everybody says like, oh, well, clearly the Bible does not endorse slavery because in order to make it look like the Bible endorsed slavery, they had to cut out all the anti-slavery verses and make the slave Bible. Except if you actually look into what the slave Bible is, it was put together by a bishop of the Anglican Church named Belby Porteous, who was one of the first abolitionists in the Anglican Church. Abolitionist is someone who is, if you're not familiar, that's someone who's against slavery. And so slave Bible was not the label that he would have given it. It was a Bible that was like, it wasn't meant to be a full Bible. It was meant to be like, this is the sort of thing you're supposed to base your like Sunday services off of, like a guide, or like the equivalent would be like the Soldier's Pocket Bible, which like, here's a collection of verses that are relevant to being a soldier. So like, here's a collection of verses relevant to being a slave. And his idea was like, I want the slaves to be educated so that when we end slavery, they'll start from a better starting point than if they weren't educated. That was the whole purpose of what has become known as the slave Bible. But the slave Bible is actually like, that's the label given to it by the Museum of the Bible, who have completely lied about its origins to make it seem worse than it is. And like, I'm not saying Belby Porteous was like a great guy who was on the right side of every issue with this. Like, he had a really fucked up way of trying to make sure slaves were prepared for the real world by like it was like, if they're Christians,
horrible for
if they're Christians, they'll be better.
Like.
But like, he was doing what he thought was the best thing in the furtherance of the goal of ending slavery. So like, yeah, his methods, I would say, are fucked up, but his goal was admirable. So yeah, slave Bible is not what apologists would have you believe it is.
Yay. My lid printed.
Oh, you're done printing?
No, I'm not done printing, but my lid finished printing.
Okay, I was going to say that was a quick print if you're done by now.
Oh no,
is it another slime?
No, but I have many of them.
You're making an art. You build me an army worthy of Mordor.
Every single time that I pull out a different filament to start a different like color project, I'm printing a slime first, because that way I have like, most of those slimes are from the same spool of filament because it was a color changing filament. So I got a bunch of different types of colors out of it, and then my brain was like, but I can go further.
So Fennec says, Sir should send you a slime. So the thing is, I have a 3D printer, so if you send me the model, I can print my own slime.
I can send you the model.
That would be way easier than sending me an actual slime. Although my printer has not been turned on in months, so I probably need to do some calibration. So yeah, I appreciate my patrons, and I love my patrons. One of the patron benefits that I probably need to take off of the thing is like 3D printed Rhino stuff. Because I haven't had my printer on in ages, and I'm also really bad at remembering stuff. So like, I haven't sent out any patron benefits in probably over a year. I'm sorry, patrons of mine. I love you and I appreciate you. And I love that most of you don't care about this, but it's still on my bad.
It feels bad for him.
Yeah. Anyway, next tweet. Duke of Noticing, which I didn't notice that his name was the Duke of Noticing until like well after I responded to this. So this was a response to me. I posted something pro-trans. I don't remember what, but
So he noticed that.
His response was to say, "Weird how you are only a woman in your mind and the rest of society won't accept your mental illness.
This
almost like you're
thing.
not."
Rhino, you don't.
You know my pronouns are in my bio, right? This is why pronouns in the bio is a good thing. Because you could have clicked
been able to figure it out.
You could have fucking clicked on my bio, seen that my pronouns are he, him, and then saved yourself from looking like a gigantic fucking idiot by
Fucking
not
pronouns.
thinking that I'm a woman. Like, no, I don't think that I'm a woman. I'm a dude. I am a cis dude. He, him. And I thought, like, it's fucking hilarious. Like, I responded to him, taking him kind of semi-seriously at first, and then after I responded to him, like, oh, fuck, you literally call yourself the Duke of Noticing. Good job noticing the pronouns in my bio.
Fucking hell. Why are people like this?
Like, I kind of wanted to do the Shannon Q thing of, like, well, prove that I'm not really a woman. But, like, that would be so fucking easy. Because I'm not. Like... Ugh.
Hello, everybody. Here's my mountain of evidence that I am a man. And then you end it with just like a picture, just like a 4x3 picture. And written in it is, this is where I'd put a dick pic if I was really mean.
I mean, there's enough of me on my channel that... Like, I mean, it's usually wearing women's lingerie, but like... I literally mooned my audience in the outtakes once, like just like 2 weeks ago. And then like there was someone commented on that where like, I don't know if you saw the video. If you didn't, like, I don't expect that you watch all my content. Because that's the thing with the atheist content creators. We mostly don't watch each other's content because like, no, I'm so like knee deep in the stuff that like, I don't have the capacity to spend my free time watching other people doing the same thing as me.
It's weird because like I used to with you and Telltale and everybody, I used to watch like every upload when it came out. And then when I started making the content and also when I became friends with y'all,
yeah,
I stopped watching it as much because like now if I go, hey, I wonder what Vice's opinion is on a thing, I could just send you a message.
Well, yeah, like I don't know. I still get to think like Zod is someone that I talk to on a regular basis. Zod commented on one of my videos the other day. I'm like, oh yay! I got a comment for Prophet of Zod, and it's like I have his phone number. Like I can call him. So it's a weird space to be in. But anyway, like so in one of my videos a couple weeks ago, in the outtakes, like it was a staged outtake, I will admit it, but like I did like this joke like I'm being an intellectual because Mike Winger said something like he said that Sam Harris held a position, and I forget exactly what it was, but like when I looked it up, there was literally a quote where Sam Harris was saying the exact opposite of what Mike Winger was saying his position was. Oh, consciousness is an illusion. He's like, Sam Harris says that consciousness is an illusion. And then when I looked, like I just did like a cursory Google search, first thing that came up was a blog post written by Sam Harris in which contained the quote, consciousness is the only thing in the universe that cannot be an illusion. So like literally the exact opposite of what Mike said he said. And so like, I filmed my response to that one sitting in my chair, wearing my suit, smoking my fake pipe, which it's a real pipe, but I wasn't actually smoking it. And I actually had one of my kids like drew, like I showed him a picture of Sam Harris and was like, can you draw that? And he's like, I'm not good at drawing hands. I'm like, that's okay. The worse it is, the better. Because I want it to be shit. Like I didn't say shit, but like I want it to be bad. Like draw it your best, but if it's bad, that's okay. That's what I want. So he drew it and it was great. And it was the cover of like Sam's book. I think I titled it like Thinky Book by Sam Harris. And so like I then printed out like his blog article and I'm like, I just printed out his blog article and put it in the book. This isn't even really his book. I know it's like convincing or whatever, but like I just wanted to have an air of intellectual superiority while I'm smoking my pipe, reading my book. And so I manufactured an outtake at the end of that where like I wasn't wearing any pants and I borrowed one of my partner's thongs. And like I had her like interrupt me, be like, "Hey, can you get me my Buddhist cookbook?" Because like she has a cookbook that is like Buddhist friendly recipe. I don't fucking know what it is, but like it's a cookbook that is Buddhist themed, and it was on the bookshelf that was behind me in the thing. So I stood up and bent over with my butt facing the camera, grabbed the Buddhist cookbook, and I was wearing her thong for it. So like the joke is I'm wearing a suit but no pants. And
Okay.
and then someone commented like, "Don't ever do that again." And having ADHD, when I read the comment, "Don't ever do that again," I'm like, well, now I need to show my ass off in a thong in every video. Because like that's part of ADHD is like if you tell me what to do and make it sound like I don't have an option, I am going to do my best to do the exact opposite of that. And then I made this like big like in my head it was good natured, but then it turned out that the person who commented that was actually like a patron of mine, so they commented on Patreon being like, "So I guess I'm just never going to tell you to do anything ever again." I'm like, okay, you know what? I get it if you want to cancel your pledge. That's fine. Like, this is the headspace that I was in. Like, I wasn't taking you seriously necessarily with that. I think it was meant as a joke. But like my ADHD is like, no, that's not a joke. I need to do the exact opposite. So like there was this weird thing going on. So like, okay, yeah. My response, I get it if you're like upset at my response and you want to cancel your pledge. That's fine. No judgment from me. And and in her like to her credit, like we had a good conversation about it, and she was like, no, that's fine. It was like we've had it back and forth, and everything is good. But like, oh yeah, Zach's Zerlock says not really ADHD, sounds like spite. So so people with ADHD are more likely to like when. It is a trait of ADHD. It's not necessarily ADHD. This is one of the difficulties with ADHD is like almost every single symptom is something that everybody experiences sometimes. And so it's hard to really like explain that like yeah, you lost your keys. Fine. And ADHD people lose their keys, but it's like you lose your keys like once a month.
So
I lose my keys every day.
To make it very, very easy and simple to understand, people with ADHD struggle with emotional regulation. This causes them to be more prone to arguments.
Yeah.
It is everybody has arguments. People with ADHD are more prone to it. So
yeah.
Don't say not really ADHD. No, we understand this is actually a symptom. That a comorbidity, if you will, of ADHD.
Yeah. So it's like it is something that everybody experiences, but for me, it's like a regular thing. It has actually caused me to lose jobs in the past that I could not. Like they tell me to do something, and I'm just like, no, that doesn't make sense to me. Of course, I'm not fucking doing that. That's stupid. My last job that I had before, like I went full time with the channel, it was unionized, so they couldn't just get rid of me. But I'm sure that they were happy to see me go because like I was like, it was a serving job. And one of the things they did was like, you need to encourage people to leave reviews. And so we have these business cards where like they've got the link to where they want to leave the reviews. And they were telling us like, you need to give that to them like after they've had their main course, but before they get dessert. And in my mind, I'm like, if somebody did that to me while I was trying to enjoy my meal, I would be fucking pissed and I would leave a bad review. And I would make it clear that, like, I'm sure that this is not the server's fault. It's just company policy or whatever, but that's stupid fucking policy. And so because that's how I thought of it, I refused to do it. I would not do it. And as a result of that, I did not get as many positive reviews as other servers who did do that. And apparently that's a thing that neurotypical people don't have an issue with, is like having like in between their main course and their dessert, somebody be like, hey, well, you're waiting for your dessert. Why don't you leave us a review? Apparently that's fine for a neurotypical person.
I will just look at the thing and go, no.
Yeah, but from my perspective, I'm like, no, I haven't finished my meal yet. I'm not leaving a review until it's done. Like, what if I want to say something about the dessert? Of course not.
Because you have to finish the task you're on.
Yeah, so it didn't make sense to me, so I didn't do it. But apparently for neurotypical people, it's fine. And so other people got more reviews than me, so the company didn't really like me because I wasn't getting positive reviews. But because it was unionized, they couldn't just get rid of me, and because I had a fair bit of seniority. But yeah, no, it was like I do much better as a YouTuber because I can like. Well, I mean, I say that, but I have 11 unread messages in my business email account that I know are mostly from sponsors that, like, if I actually deal with this shit, I get more money. But, like, I don't want to deal with this shit.
Meanwhile, the only sponsorship stuff I have at the moment is either people who I find out are scams, or it's the, like, Stream Elements ones where they go, hey, for every sign up, you get 3 ideas of $1.
Yeah, I have 6. When I logged in while you were going pee, I have like 6 sponsor offers from Stream Elements, and I'm like, I kind of don't want to take that.
I've debated it. Like, when it was Star Trek Fleet Command, I was able to have some fun with it. And then I hit the point in the game where, like, if you're not spending money, you're not able to have a lot of fun anymore.
Well, I also saw, like, I think it was your post, actually, that was like, doing the sponsorships through Stream Elements is kind of a coin flip whether or not you ever get paid for it in the first place.
Yeah, Saki had one from HelloFresh, and they didn't pay her like 3 years ago, and they refused to.
Yeah, so like that's just not a thing that I'm willing to deal with, and I don't want to sell things that I'm not like. Even if it's something like, I don't take sponsorships that are of companies that I would not use personally. But I also would not take a sponsorship from a company, even if there's something that I would use personally, if there's a chance they're not going to pay me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like Ground News. I use Ground News. I'm actually a paying subscriber for Ground News, even though they give me a free subscription, because on the last one, Tim, he writes most of my ads, Ground News, he does not write my ads because they have too many weird requirements about how, like, it has to be relevant to the video, and it has to, like, I have to talk about a specific news item or whatever, and he's just like, it's just easier if I do that one myself. But like the last time was like, okay, well, how about you use the trial thing and see what you can do? And so he did. And so he got my free trial, and then it was like, no, man, it's going to be easier if you just do it. So I ended up paying for it. So like I am a paying subscriber for Ground News, and I still advertise for them, and because that's a company that I believe in. But I'm also on the verge of like turning them down because it's just more work than it's worth. Like, I don't know. On the one hand, like it's like dollars per hour wise, it's fairly good, but like it's just so much stress that I don't know. It's a hard calculation to make. Anyway. These are streamer problems that you guys don't actually care about, I think, for the most part. But just take it to heart that if you see me advertising for something, it's a company that I would be willing to pay for myself. I will not advertise. Like, there's one that they just emailed me, I think, that they want to do a repeat thing with the Aura clean up your internet presence thing. One of those companies, like, I would absolutely do that. Unfortunately, they're not available in Canada. Otherwise, I would have. And I actually had to negotiate with them a bit about that because like they were like, oh, well, you have to like do a Google search for your real name and then use our service and then do that Google search again and show the difference. Like, yeah, but I can't sign up for it because it only accepts Americans. And I was like, I actually want to sign up for your thing. Can you please come to Canada? So yeah, that was that. And they want to renew their thing because apparently they got a really good response from my audience. So I'm happy about that, but also kind of annoyed because I can't use it myself, because I would love to like scrub my presence from the internet in the real thing so I could just like accidentally dox myself and it doesn't matter.
See, I'll take a different stance. If you see me shilling for a company, it's probably because my water heater broke.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you saw my water heater broke.
You saw my post on this with Raid Shadow Legends or whatever, where I was like, I was talking about how like I am not taking a sponsorship from Raid Shadow Legends, and I posted a thing where it was like, this is how much money I am potentially being offered, and like it's just like, no, I'm not going to do that because I know it's a pay to play or like it's a pay to win game. But I also know that you have taken a sponsorship, even though like right after you took the sponsorship, you did a video that was like, this is why Raid is shit. So
Yeah.
like on the one hand, it's like, I recognize that my ability to say no to sponsorships actually comes from a position of privilege. I make enough money that like, yes, I could turn down Shade or Raid's potential $6,000. Like that, like I'm not gonna pretend that that wouldn't be like that wouldn't change my life for a couple months and like make a lot of things way easier for me. But I don't need it desperately, so like I can turn it down. It's different when it's like, yeah, no, but I need clean water. Yeah, Fennec is saying established titles. That was a my bad. I
remember you and I having a conversation about established titles. Even I was like, I know other friends who have taken it, and it seems fine. But then the information came out around that time.
Yeah, so when I did my ad for them was around the time when all that shit kind of dropped. And so that was before I hired Tim to kind of vet these things for me because I didn't have time to properly vet them. So what I did, I was like, okay, well, Cinema Therapy has done ads for established titles. And they are people, like, they seem like good people. They seem like the kind of people that I would trust with this sort of thing. So I was going to kind of piggyback off of their having vetted them. And that was a mistake. I don't know, like, I'm not going to say that, like, oh, Cinema Therapy is not trustworthy because they took the ads. Like, I don't know what their vetting process looks like. I don't know if they thought it was legit, honestly, and like something slipped through the cracks there. I don't know. But what I do know is that like I did take the ad for established titles, and then as I got massive backlash, I cut the ad out of the video and I turned down. They were going to be one of the easiest contracts for me where like they were going to pay me, I think it was like $1,200 a month just to rerun the same ad that I had already filmed for an entire year. Like that's a shit ton of money. And I did turn that down because of the backlash, because I'm like, okay, no, dude, like the money is not worth my reputation.
And see,
But at the same time, I recognize.
I don't know if I could have.
Yeah, no, this is the thing, is that I recognize that my ability to turn them down comes from a place of privilege where I am not concerned about my basic needs being met. I know that I have enough money to meet my basic needs, so I can turn that down. But I also remember being in a place where, like, I was only making $1,600 a month. So the idea of another $1,100 a month or whatever the fuck it was, just to rerun a thing that I already done, just to, like, insert video to other video. That's all I had to do. It would take 2 seconds to make a shit ton of money every month. Like, that would have been a completely life-change. Like, I remember being at a point in my life where I would look at the toilet paper roll, see how low it was getting, and being like, oh shit, I don't know how I'm going to afford my next case of toilet paper. Like, how am I going to ration this? It's toilet paper. You fucking need to wipe your ass.
I remember so having been in that situation enough, my brain has a compartmentalized setting of the toilet paper I can afford when shit hits the fan and the toilet paper my septic system wants me to use. And luckily, things have at least been functional enough to where I can take option B most of the time. But sometimes I take that option A and I'm just like, man, this is not good. This is not the shit my septic system wants me to use. This is going to cost me later.
Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting for fucking Tushy to like sponsor me, because like I would love to do an ad read for a bidet, because that is my go-to for like remembering what it's like to be poor. It's like I've been there. This is not an act. I was there, and like, yeah, my finances are fine now. Like, I appreciate that my audience supports me, and that is how I live, and I appreciate the fuck out of that. And I always want to remember where I came from so that I don't ever get jaded to where like, oh no, yeah, no, I just deserve this base level of money. Like, no, this is like, I need to earn it every month. and that's how I kind of remember it. And so like the Hello Tushy is kind of like, that would be my ideal sponsor, because like I remember looking at the toilet paper roll being like, I don't know how I'm going to afford more of that. But like, if you just buy like the one bidet attachment, like even the cheap one that you just hook into the water and it's not even heated or whatever, that saves you so much fucking money on toilet paper. And like,
Food Shop says, why do you have a septic system? Do you have a barn with farm animals? Food Shops,
you live in rural Georgia.
Do you know what a septic system is? There is no city water here. There is none of that shit. There is no city gas here. I have a propane tank. I live in the woods. There is none of that here. And actually, in my district, a lot of people live like this because we have like these clearly defined residential areas that start off as neighborhoods and lead into backwoods and then become nothing but dirt roads where the idea of people becomes a suggestion. And that's a lot of what is here.
Well, like even like septic systems are not that uncommon. Like my dad has a septic system. He's not that far away from, like, he's kind of in between two semi-major city centers.
Also, yeah, like there's a septic system is just my grandma lives in the city limits in Pensacola, and where she lives, she is also on septic, and she is in a fully furnished neighborhood. So yeah, it's a shit tank for when you live in the places in the boondocks. So no, it's not just a shit tank for when you live in the places with the boondocks, because there's also plenty of places that are in city limits that use them.
Yeah. Yeah, it costs money to hook up to city water.
Food Shop stands, are you an idiot? Did you get dropped on the head as a child? I have to ask. It very, very important information seems to be missing from this conversation, because septic systems are actually fairly common. Like in my situation, I live in the woods. Yes. But again, I know plenty of people who live in what would be considered city and still are on this same kind of system. Like, because I've looked at her bills on it, so I know what she has. But okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is like,
anyway,
I have the need to antagonize on the internet or what.
Back to the tweets. Kevin Sorbo. If you don't want to slave...
we have to go back to the tweets? Like, looking at him.
So Gretchen Whitmer posted, abortion is healthcare, we'll keep fighting like hell to defend it. To which Kevin Sorbo responded, if you don't want a slave, don't buy one. Same logic. Like, no?
What?
That's not even close to the same logic? Like, so the sad thing is, I am so steeped in this anti-abortion rhetoric that I actually know what Kevin Sorbo was thinking he was responding to. Like, he thought that he was responding to the, like, oh, if you don't want an abortion, don't get one argument. But, like, that's not the same as abortion is healthcare. Because abortion is healthcare. And, like, there are many cases where if you don't get an abortion, it will put your life at risk. Not owning a slave will never put your life at risk.
You know, it's a really depressing thing that I found out today about Kevin Sorbo. One of my favorite video games growing up was The Conduit, and I just found out recently that he was one of the leading voice actors in it.
Ugh. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That hurts the brain.
Yeah, no, I can't. Like, there was that, I think it was Andromeda, the TV series, the sci-fi show that he was in after Hercules. That, like, apparently it's a really good show, but, like, when I watch it now, I can't get past the fact that I'm watching Kevin Sorbo. So, like, I can't enjoy the show because, like, that's just a fucking idiot at the helm. No. We like, no, that's not good. But, yeah. So that's K-Sorbs thinking that saying that something is healthcare is the same argument as saying that if you don't want a slave, don't buy one. It's like, no, not even close.
If you don't want a body, don't shoot one. What?
Yeah, like, no, this is where you get the badly drawn star with, like, at least you tried. Okay, so this is fun. So Sam says, I simply wish for J.K. Rowling everything she wishes for trans people. To which Arthur responds, a man attacking J.K. Rowling again. Like,
what?
Okay. So he responds like, okay, where is the attack? Stace says, you wished ill on her, gaslighting much, typical misogynistic man.
Wait, so like, you
this is
admit that she wishes ill for trans people?
This is people like just coming out and being like, yeah, no, J.K. Rowling wants bad things to happen to trans people. Otherwise, that's not an attack. Like, it's flat out. Like, you want bad things for trans people. That's the only way you could possibly see this as an attack, is if you know that J.K. Rowling wishes bad things for trans people. So, like, it's always fun to watch gender critical people fall into traps like this. And, like, being gender critical completely rots your brain, so this happens all the time.
Jeez. If you want to be the person that goes, J.K. Rowling does not want bad things for trans people. She's an ally, she's a feminist, blah, 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 blah. But then also have this take. It hurts my brain.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and he was like, Sam was clearly baiting people for this, and they fell for it immediately.
Yeah.
And then Neramdaput says, I wish for Vice Rhino everything he wishes upon gay people. Thank you, Neramdaputs, because I only wish the best for gay people. I wish gay people could have all the same rights that straight people have. I wish they had as comfortable lives as straight people have. I wish nothing but good things for gay people. So, like, that's not an attack on me, because I don't wish bad things on gay people. It's that simple.
Instead, you get this.
Yeah. Like, I would never consider somebody saying that I wish on Vice Rhino all the things that Vice Rhino wishes for LGBTQ people. I would never take that as an attack, because I know that I don't wish bad things on those people. I wish nothing but the best for them.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Also, apparently we had the person that I was talking to in the chat, apparently they were just a racist troll, because they kept making comments about the blacks up on Goat Island in New York.
Tell them to go watch our earlier segment on immigration.
Well, my mods have already taken them out though, so they're gone. They went out back and old yellered them.
Good job, mods. Yeah. Maximonia says, when is the white heterosexual male day of visibility? In response to, like, trans day of visibility.
Well, there's 364 days of it, so
365.24 days of it. Like, let's be real. Like, when have white heterosexual male people ever had to fucking hide who they are? Never. Like, it's literally every day of the year, including all the days that are dedicated to other people.
Like, I don't think these people realize that the reason you have a day of visibility for a group of people is because that group of people is either unrepresented or has to go invisible. Now, if you look at the history of trans people, there are two general types of trans person in society, like two broad categories: the ones that want to pass and also fly under the radar, and the ones who are out and proud about it. Now, conservatives freak the fuck out about the ones that are out and proud about it, but they don't fucking know who's in the other category. They have no way of knowing.
Yeah, well, so, I am a white heterosexual male. Never once have I felt like I don't have a voice. I have multiple shows where, like, it's nothing but me giving my opinion on shit. Because I'm a white straight guy. And, like, I talk about LGBTQ stuff all the time. As a white straight guy, I will frequently ask friends of mine who are actually LGBTQ, like, hey, can you read over the script and, like, give me your thoughts? Like, what are some things that I could have phrased better? What are some things that I got wrong? Like, give me feedback on the script so that I make sure I'm actually right. But, like, I don't have to do that. I could just say whatever the fuck I want to say. And as a white heterosexual guy, I can get away with that. Now, my partner might argue with the heterosexual thing. She thinks I might be slightly bisexual because of some things that I have said.
I'm right here.
And I don't think it's with relation to you, but that might play a part. I mean, that's one of those things where it's like, I've never sucked a dick. Maybe I would like it if I tried it. I don't know, but I have no desire to try it. So like, I think I'm heterosexual, but like,
I know I'm heterosexual and I have sucked a dick.
there you go.
Just
That is fair. That is a fair point.
so
Did I ever tell you when I actually like struck out hard with a I was trying to hit on a trans woman. It was while I was like at the God Awful Movies live show in Toronto. This was like while I was single. It was before I really started dating, and I'm like, maybe I can kind of try and get back into this.
Mhm.
And it was like, okay, well, I'm in Toronto with a bunch of people that like I'm gonna only see once in my life, so like maybe I should make a move. And like she was cute, and we seemed to be getting along. So I was like, hey, you want to come back to my room? It's like, no, I don't. Okay.
You see, in my case, it was, do you want to come back to my state? And the answer was yes.
You convinced a trans woman to move to Georgia.
Yes, Saki is literally in the other room right now.
You must be like the most fucking attractive man on the planet to convince a trans woman to move to Georgia.
No, I'm fairly overweight and need to work on a lot of shit.
Well, I mean, there's more to attraction than just physical. Yeah, no, that says a lot about how great you must be as a partner that you convinced a trans woman to move to Georgia. Saki,
My chat's now going slime wrists.
Saki, you need to hold him to very high standards. He has to treat you like the fucking queen that you are. And if he ever is not good to you, you just leave his fucking ass.
Oh, don't tell her that. That's dangerous things to tell her.
Yeah. Anyway, Anonymous just tipped $6.90. I hope there wasn't a message with that because I'm not seeing it. Thank you, Anonymous. Bow-tied Ranger. I hate that this person is Bow-tied Ranger because I wear bow ties.
Oh.
Says Juneteenth was created to replace July 4th. Kwanzaa was created to replace Christmas. Trans Day of Visibility was created to replace Easter.
What? But it was on the same day for multiple years, and Easter wasn't on that day. What?
Yeah, no, that's like, like this. I don't understand. Like they freaked out about Trans Day of Visibility coinciding with Easter this year. There's like,
for 10 years.
Easter's the one that keeps moving around, bitches. Like.
Easter's the one that moves around because Easter tries its damnedest to be on a Sunday. But fucking, it's not the same thing for Trans Day of Visibility. That's been the 31st 10 years.
Easter is the one that's like, it has to be the first Sunday after the first full moon after the vernal equinox. Whereas Trans Day of Visibility is just like, yeah, no, it's March 31st or whatever it was. Was it March 31st?
It was March 31st.
Okay. I was correct there. Okay. And also, like, Juneteenth is June 19th. That's, like, several weeks away from July 4th. And Kwanzaa is, like, it's not... Also, like, most people that celebrate Kwanzaa also celebrate Christmas, in my experience.
There's a reason we say that's why it's okay to say happy holidays. Some people want there to be multiple holidays.
Even if you're just fucking Christian, there's multiple holidays in there. Like, there's Christmas, okay, in America, you guys don't have Boxing Day, but, like, there's Christmas, there's Boxing Day, there's New Year's, there's Christmas Eve.
There's Christmas, there's the day your kids go back to fucking school.
Yeah.
That's a holiday. We'll call, and I'm sure it's not called one, but it feels like one for a lot of people.
Like, Trans Day of Visibility, March 31st, every fucking year. Easter, it changes every fucking year. So, like, no, this isn't Trans Day of Visibility encroaching on Easter. This is Easter encroaching on Trans Day of Visibility. If you guys have a problem with that, then maybe pick a fucking day and stick to it. Instead of, like, because that's the crazy thing, that, like, there's so much in Christianity that is taken from paganism. Like the decorating of a Christmas tree, that's a pagan thing. The giving of gifts on Christmas is a pagan thing. There's so much in Christianity that is taken from pagan traditions. But like the way they calculate Easter sounds pagan as fuck, but it's actually not pagan. It's anti-Semitic in origin, not pagan. Not sure that that's better. It's probably worse, actually. But like, yeah, no, it was like they needed a way to calculate Easter that would not have it lining up with the Passover because that's a Jewish thing and we can't be Jewish. Like that was the whole origin of how they figured it out. Like it was because the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar. They had to make it based on the moon somehow, but they wanted it to not be the same as Passover because
they had to make sure it would never fall on the same day.
Well, not never, but like usually not.
Never say never.
Yeah. But like, yeah, no, the people who, apparently next year Easter's on 420. But yeah, no, these people are fucking idiots. Ben Shapiro, I think that's the last tweet then. Yeah, no, we're ending with Benny Shaps.
Yay!
Says, according to the Biden White House, it is disrespectful and wrong to kill terrorists during Ramadan, but Trans Day of Visibility, TM, must be celebrated on Easter. No, like we said, Easter's the one that moves around. Trans Day of Visibility is the same day every fucking year. If you guys have a problem with it, then maybe do Easter differently. But also, like, disrespectful and wrong to kill terrorists during Ramadan. How much do you want to bet that that's just like, that's not actually with regards to killing actual terrorists? That's just like,
but just like
with
bombing
regards
Palestinians.
To, yeah, like either bombing Palestinians or killing people at the border for no fucking reason with razor wire or whatever the fuck. Yeah, I don't know. Benny Shapiro's an idiot. And he thinks a wet vagina is a sign of disease.
He also thinks you should buy, he thinks you'll be able to sell coastal property once it's underwater.
Yeah. Speaking of wet vaginas, though, my partner is out in the living room.
Okay.
So, yeah, that'll be the end of the stream. We're running late, as we so often do. I think at this point we should just accept the fact that this show ends at 11 now instead of 10.
Fuck.
Love you too, Saris.
See you, man.
All right. Talk to you later.